All right, are we good? Are we live? I think we are. Hello all and welcome back to Women's Football Chat Live. We're back with midweek WSL action. There was no plans to be a midweek WSL game, but after a postponement earlier in the season, Aston Villa take on Liverpool this evening. Should be an interesting one. Two sides who could do with a result. Aston Villa, if they were to win this evening, it would put them closer to Brighton and London City in that mid-table fight. For Liverpool, well, they could climb from the bottom of the table for the first time in a very long time, actually, for Liverpool. I think they've been there all season so far. So, big chance for Liverpool tonight. They've got a big week ahead of them. Villa tonight. West Ham coming up on Sunday. So, this is an important fixture for both sides, Harry. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, very much so. As you say, a massive week for Liverpool, but a big game for both sides as well. I think that it's postponed games, always big ones. Obviously, this game was postponed from Matchweek 3, and I think that does benefit Liverpool because if you think back to how Liverpool were performing in that Matchweek 3 towards the start of the season, they weren't looking very good. But now it looks much more positive for Liverpool. They've been playing much better in recent weeks. So I think this game being postponed presents with an opportunity tonight to have a good go at Aston Villa when Liverpool are playing well. If it had been played in Matchweek 3, then Villa probably on paper would have been the better side. But Liverpool have got a chance tonight. Two games now in the space of 4 days that for me could really decide their season. If they beat Villa tonight and beat West Ham, suddenly they're off the bottom of the table and they're having a great time and it looks to be a little bit more rosy for the Reds. If they lose tonight and lose on Sunday, then people will start to think they could be doomed and could end up playing in that relegation playoff. So a big few days coming up for Liverpool, and it starts tonight. Heading away to Birmingham, got to go and get a result from a Villa side who, let's be honest, they are very good. We know the quality they've got, but we also know they're unpredictable. So anything could happen with Aston Villa. You never know what you're going to get. It's up to Liverpool to bring that standard and to deliver a winning performance.
Yeah, I think as well what you've got tonight is two sides who have massively underperformed in attacking areas, created lots of chances, but underperformed. But also two sides who, for where they are in the table, have actually done quite well defensively. In Aston Villa this season, only 12 goals conceded. That's less than Tottenham. And we've raved a lot about how good Tottenham's defence has been, but they've only scored 10. The only sides that have scored less than Aston Villa this season are West Ham, Leicester, and of course Liverpool. Liverpool, the least goals scored in the division so far this season. That has been changing in recent weeks. Beta Olsen has been in better form, but tonight is going to be about who can actually take their opportunities. Aston Villa this season have been quite clinical in front of goal, especially Ebony Salmon. So that's going to be really important that she steps up tonight as a goal scorer. And for Liverpool, they need Beta Olsen to keep up that form, but she needs support. She needs players like Mia Enderby, who's never scored a WSL goal, to step up.
Yeah, exactly that. Tonight, there will be chances for this game to be 4-4, or a result of that kind of similarity. There will be chances for both sides to score a lot tonight, but as you say, it's going to come down to who can take those opportunities when it matters, who can be calm and composed in front of goal, and who can be clinical. If you miss chances, you're going to open the door for the opposition to punish you. So it's very important, as you say, the likes of Olsen are on fire. Hansen, once again, we know she's consistent, but can she step up again for Villa? There's going to be opportunities for both sides to win this game. It's just going to be about who's going to take them, when it matters.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's dive into the lineups for the game this evening, where it is at Villa Park. So we'll start with the hosts, Aston Villa. A 3-4-1-2 for Villa this evening. In goal, Sabrine D'Angelo keeps her starting spot. A back three of Moritz, Patton and Parker weakened with suspensions for both Ocean de Landes and Lynn Wilms. On one wing back, it's Chastity Grant. On the other, it is Rachel Maltby. And then in the midfield pivot, Lucia Kendall and Miri Taylor. In the 10 tonight, Rachel Daly, and then a front pair of Hijja Carter making her first start for Villa alongside Kirsty Hansen. Interesting selection then for Villa. Georgia Mullet picked up an injury in the international break with the 23s. That's why we haven't seen her since then. Ebony Salmon bench for tonight, and Hijja Carter, given that opportunity, this is a big chance for the youngster.
Yeah, massive opportunity, as you say. Salmon has been out of sorts. She was dropped for Mullet. Mullet's now injured. Presents an opportunity for Hijja Carter to come in tonight. We saw her come off the bench in the last match week and looked okay, but what a chance for her tonight up against a Liverpool defence that has been a little shaky. If she can perform and link up with Hansen and Daly, great players to have near you, by the way. If I was a youngster starting in the WSL, I'd love to have the experience of Kirsty Hansen and Rachel Daly surrounding me in forward areas. But yeah, so a good opportunity for Hijikata tonight to come in and show Arroyo what she's got. It's a great opportunity. If she delivers tonight, then that starting role has got to be hers, because as we've said, Ebony Salmon is out of form and Georgia Mullet's injured, back on the bench, I believe. But it's one of those where if Hijikata performs this evening, then there's a very good chance that she can kind of start to see herself, with some consistent starting minutes and really burst onto the scene. It's exactly what Kendall has done this season. It's exactly what Rachel Maltby has done this season. We are seeing these youngsters be given an opportunity by Arroyo in this Villa side, and so far the majority of them have lived up to that and have earned themselves more and more minutes. The opportunity is there for Hijikata tonight to go and do it exactly the same.
Yeah, absolutely. And Villa need someone to step up with goals. Kirsty Hansen has been fairly reliable, though, in and amongst their poor form in front of goal. 4 goals for her so far this season. So Villa will be hoping she can keep up that form. As for the visitors, then Liverpool, it is looking like a 4-2-3-1, though it could be a slight shape change for Liverpool tonight. In goal, it is Faye Kirby, keeping her starting spot from the last few weeks. In the back four, it's Parry, Clark, Evans and Woodham. We've not seen Parry used in a back four for a while now. She's very often used as a wing-back. We saw her come back into the starting 11 against Arsenal, but that was alongside Silcock, who played at centre-half. In the middle pivot, it is Nagano alongside Kirsty McLean. On one wing, it looks like it'll be Leanne Kiernan. On the other, Mia Enderby. Kapox in that 10 role, and Beta Olsen leading the line. Liverpool then, some interesting choices. Leanne Kiernan coming in to the side, usually a striker. Do you think we'll see her in that striker role? Do you think we'll see her out wide? Where do you think we'll see Leanne Kiernan tonight?
I think my head tells me that she'll probably start from the middle, but my heart would tell me that is the wrong decision. I think that purely because of the form of Beta Olsen, to move her anywhere else would, for me, feel like the wrong decision. So Kiernan is that usually a striker, but I think if Gareth Taylor is being switched on tonight, he'll recognise that you can't move Olsen. She's been clinical, she's been dangerous. If it's not broken, don't fix it. So just leave that. Is the one thing that is working right now, is Beta Olsen is scoring goals for Liverpool. If he's decided to put Olsen out on the wing and bring Kiernan in to lead the line, that would surprise me, because I think that would be a bit of a waste of the qualities and the performances we've seen from Beta Olsen. But overall, it's a good Liverpool side. You say, great to have Parry back against Arsenal. Still ready to go again. Back-to-back starts is a bit risky, saying she's just come back from injury, which is interesting. But it's one of those for Liverpool where they're still managing with a lot of players out. The starting 11, though, tonight, even when there's injuries, is pretty strong, and they'll back themselves to make a good game of this.
Yeah, the only other option could be a 4-4-2 tonight for Liverpool, with Kapox on one wing, Enderby on the other, potentially looking to go up against Villa's back three with a front two. We could see something like that tonight. So it's going to be interesting to see how Liverpool do line up. The back line's interesting for me. I thought the 5-back worked against Arsenal, albeit they did push a bit too high in that second half, and eventually they got caught out for it. But I think with Parry and Woodham, you sort of need 3 centre-backs, because they're both very aggressive full-backs. I think it's fine if you're going to have a Shimizu and then one of Parry or Woodham, but to have them both in there, I think it's going to leave them a little bit exposed in those areas. If Villa can push their wing backs up high up the field and can get in behind in those areas, I think that could be incredibly dangerous. So should be a very interesting matchup. Two sides, as I say, that have underperformed in front of goal, but I'm confident we're going to see a pretty decent high goal scoring affair tonight. Yeah,
exactly that. I think it's one of those where on their day, both these sides, for me, are really high quality teams, and obviously that I don't think the table really shows that. But I look at both these sides, I think they've got abundance of quality across the pitch. Villa probably a little bit more than Liverpool, but still, two sides of good quality. I think they've got two of the best managers in the league. Gareth Taylor and Arroyo are two of the best tacticians in the WSL right now. So they're the kind of coaches that can change the game and make the difference in these kind of tight affairs. But as you say, if both sides are clinical tonight, we are going to get a lot of goals, because although I do think that these two sides can be strong defensively, it's got the kind of feel. They're both very good in transition when they're coming forwards on the break, running at teams. It's that kind of game where either I don't see it being really nervy. I think it's going to be open. I think it's going to be space to utilise for both sides. And as I said earlier, it's going to come down to who can take their chances, because there will be opportunities in this game to win them. We've seen Villa have had loads of high-scoring games this season and last season. It seems to be a bit of a a trend under Arroyo at the moment. They can't seem to buck. Is that not being able to get too much control over the game? I mean, the London City one would have been a bit of a crazy affair. I remember the Tottenham game last campaign was somehow that you had no idea who was going to win that at any given moment. So yeah, Villa seem to always have to have these high scoring affairs, and Liverpool are getting better and better each and every game they play. So yeah, I think this is kind of bubbling up to be a very, very exciting match.
Yeah, I think Liverpool are a much better side than the table suggests. The expected performance table actually has them in 9th at the moment, and that's obviously with a game in hand on a lot of the sides around them. I think they are a better side than Leicester, Everton and West Ham. I think they are stronger, Liverpool. I think Gareth Taylor's a much better coach than he's given credit for. So I think they'll be okay this season. They just need to start picking up results. This is the week to do it. These are 2 games against Villa. That's the thing. The table would say there's 8 points between Aston Villa and Liverpool. Expected performance has it much closer, only 2. So I think this will be a much closer matchup than the table makes it look.
Yeah, exactly that. We know the quality Liverpool have, as you say, it is a huge week, not only because they're playing the side directly above them on Sunday, but also the caveat for Liverpool's poor start to the season has always been, this season has been, they are bottom of the league. They haven't won a game yet, but they have got a game in hand. Tonight, that disappears. This is the game in hand. They've got to make it count. If they lose this game, then suddenly we can compare them on merit to everybody else. But because they've played that game less, there's been that bit of belief that, yes, they are bottom of the league, but they've played a game less than everybody else. That changes tonight. If they can make this game in hand count, if they can go out and win it and put 3 points on the board, not only will that be a huge confidence boost, but it would get them off the bottom of the table and give themselves something to work for, and especially going into that huge crunch relegation 6-pointer on Sunday, if they can take a bit of momentum and belief into that game, that could make the difference against a side like West Ham, who are also struggling right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Phoebe, welcome to the stream. Asked, is it on Sky? Yes, the game is exclusive on Sky, I believe, this evening. It may be different outside of the UK, but in the UK, at least, it is only on Sky Sports tonight. So if you are watching on Sky, feel free to watch alongside us. But if you're watching on, or if you can't watch it, feel free to join us for the game. People says, I think Liverpool have been better than what they've shown. As always, they're unlucky with injuries, but I think they can challenge Villa. Absolutely. I think that's, echoes what we've been talking about in the first 15 minutes of the show here. I think this Liverpool side are much stronger than the table suggests. And I think this will be a very tight game. Speaking of the game, let's get into predictions then. Get involved in the live chat with your scoreline prediction. Let us know how you think this game is going to go. But we're going to start here in the studio, and we'll start with yourself, Harry. What's your prediction as Aston Villa host Liverpool?
Oh, it's a really tough one. I think that it's going to be a close game, and I'm going to go for a draw. I can't decide a winner. I think it'll be very similar to Liverpool's last couple of games where they've competed. They've probably maybe been the better side in this game, but they can't quite get that win. Similar to the Brighton game, they were so close to getting it over the line and just stumbled at the final hurdle again against Chelsea and against Arsenal as well. They put up a good fight. I think it'll be another good performance from Liverpool, but I will say that Aston Villa will do enough to take a point away, a point each. I'll go 2-2. 2-2. I think, as we said, both sides are good at scoring goals and have conceded, defensively can be caught out sometimes. I will say Villa goals from Hansen and Kendall, and Liverpool goals from Beta Olsen and Cornelia Kabox.
Yeah, fair enough. I think I've got a good feeling that it's going to click tonight for Liverpool. I think they'll look at this week, 2 favourable fixtures. Yes, this is away from home this evening, but I actually think that puts a little less pressure on Liverpool. I think they'll thrive at a slightly bigger pitch. We know that Villa like to use the width well, but if Liverpool can be narrow and compact, I think they can quite effectively deal with them. And Villa, it's a very makeshift backline tonight. De Landes and Wilms have been a huge part of their defensive solidity, and without them, I do think they'll be weaker. So I'm going to say Liverpool 3, Villa 1. I think it's going to be a big win for Liverpool today. Gareth Taylor finally getting a win as Liverpool manager. I think they'll climb off the bottom of the table. I'm going to say a Beta Olsen double. I'm going to go for a goal for Jenna Clark as well. I think she'll score a set piece. And for Aston Villa, I'm going to have to say Kirsty Hansen, because I don't think anyone else is capable of scoring at the moment for Villa. And Hansen has been able to fire with some consistency. So, should be a good one. Rise and work with the string, going 2-1 Villa then. But does think Olsen will score for Liverpool. And Phoebe saying, I predict Beta will score. She's on fire. Absolutely is. Should be a good game tonight. Cody Valentino going 3-1 Villa. Natalia Arroyo has a good record at home. True. I think this could be a case though, of Villa having another good performance where they probably should win and not converting their chances.
Yeah, very much so. It has kind of become the norm of Aston Villa a little bit. But yeah, it feels like everyone is expecting Beta Olsen to score. It's become inevitable. You feel at the moment in the last couple of games for her and Liverpool. But yeah, Liverpool, the way they've been playing, it does feel like if they are going to get that win, it isn't going to be a scrappy, drag it over the line kind of game. If they're going to win, I think they've got the ability to go out and win with a bit of class. So if they do get across the line tonight, I think it'll be convincing. But yeah, I personally can't split these two sides.
Yeah, fair enough. I just think Liverpool could take some wins this week, go into January, get that investment they so desperately need, and then really kick on with their season. We're about to get underway here at Villa Park. It's Aston Villa to get us started. Miri Taylor from the middle, waiting for the referee's whistle to kick us off for this midweek double-side game. Rolls it back. Are underway here at Villa Park. It's Aston Villa taking on Liverpool. And it's going to be a close game between two fairly evenly matched sides. 8th taking on 12th. Liverpool rooted to the bottom of the league, but a chance tonight to claim their first victory of the season. Out now to the left-hand side. Here's Rachel Maltby looking to progress the ball for the Villains. Nice control in there from Hansen, who looks to slip Daly in behind. There's a bit of a miscommunication there. Daly now with the chance, and 27 seconds in, and Aston Villa leads. A big mess up at the back for Liverpool, and an absolute gift of a goal for Rachel Daly. Was never going to miss in that kind of position, and that is so disappointing at the back from Liverpool.
So clumsy. That's an absolute catastrophe from Liverpool. Complete miscommunication between the centre-half and Kirby, and Daly is going to pounce. The poacher that she is does well to put the pressure on. The ball falls to her nicely and just has to slot it into an empty net. It's an absolute mess from Evans, and Kirby gets it completely wrong. They don't communicate to each other, and it leaves Rachel Daly to just pass the ball into an empty net.
What is Gemma Evans? There's no communication there between Kirby and Evans. Evans has left it. Kirby doesn't realise she's leaving it. Kirby then just kicks it back to Daly, and Clark slipped over for that. All round, an absolute calamity at the back there from Liverpool. And the wind's gone from their sails after 27 seconds. Suddenly, they've now got a mountain to climb already in this game.
Yeah, just a complete mess. I'm not really sure what Faye Kirby's expecting there. You're the goalkeeper. You've come out to it. Of course your centre-half's going to leave it. Why would your centre-half take it off you? As the goalkeeper, you've got to command that.
Back out to Daly. Villa here looking to add to their early advantage. Ball into the box. That, a better claim from Kirby there. And Liverpool just need to settle into this game because what a disastrous start it's been here at Villa Park. And high-profile mistakes like that are absolutely criminal.
Yeah.
You can't be doing that at this level. Tough start to the game here for Liverpool. Phoebe says, who do you think Liverpool should sign realistically to help them? I think Niswong are at least on loan and look for it to be permanent. I think Liverpool look to make use of the loan market, especially in attacking areas. I think that, they could do a lot worse than someone like Amara Alba from Chelsea, who hasn't really got an opportunity yet. Is still very young, but she's a player who I think could contribute immensely to their attack. I think they've got to look for underrated young talents who aren't really getting minutes. I think that's what they've got to try and do. Ball forwards held up well in there by Beta Olsen, because unless the investment's going to come, I don't see how else they're going to bring in attacking reinforcements. I think they need a centre-half. They had, obviously, Amelia Shimchak refused to play her. Now she's out for the season after picking up an injury on international duty. So, what a waste of a loan that was.
Yeah, it's a difficult one because I also think they need a centre-half. I think that's where they really lack quality. But the problem is that won't be of importance right now because it's where they've got the most players. They've got Clark, they've got Evans, they've got Bonner, they've got Silcock. That's enough. Yeah, yes, ideally teams want 5 centre-halves really in your squad, 5 or 6. But, I mean, look at the bench tonight. There's not a single, what I'd say, out-and-out midfielder on it. So
they've got Sophie Lundgaard, obviously, is a central midfielder, but...
Yeah, but I don't know.
I think it says a lot that, obviously, she's come back from a pretty major injury last season. It says a lot that Cornelia Cox has played in midfield rather than bringing her back into the fold immediately. Here's Kiernan on the right-hand side now, looking to create something for Liverpool. Parry, Cox, and Kiernan. I'm intrigued as to how that's left the field of play. I thought Kiernan kept it on. No, sorry, it's an offside decision. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
Kiernan there coming back from an offside position. That is clumsy from Liverpool there. But yeah, not the start Gareth Taylor or the visitors would have wanted.
and this has been their problem, Liverpool, is things like that and that is why they're bottom of the league. It's as simple as that, because of errors like that and mistakes happening in games, because that's already, that you haven't even got into the game. No one, you're 27 seconds in. No one's got going. No one's started. They might as well have started the game 1-0 down.
I think that's the thing for Liverpool, is that their defensive problems haven't come from having particular. It's not like they've got a terrible backline. Clark and Evans, especially on the ball, are brilliant, but they're so error prone, and Kirby as well doesn't help things. I thought when they had Borgraf, at least she didn't make as many mistakes. Here it is, Peter Olsen gives it to the overlapping runner Kiernan, who looks to cut it back, and it's blocked in there. And Villa now can look to play out. Hijikata carries it forwards into Hansen now. Clark looking to put her under pressure. Good win in there from Jenna Clark. And now can they use this Liverpool? Beta Olsen holds the ball up well. Back now to McLean. Here's Nagano. Enderby. And I think that was excellent from Clark there, being able to press up onto Kirsty Hansen and just turn that ball over half the pitch. Liverpool failed really to capitalise on it. Parry wants to carry it down the right-hand side now for Liverpool. Kiernan shifts it down the line. Here's Kapox, who's drifted into this wide right space. Waits for the overlapping runner Kiernan. Now uses that distraction to dart inside. Nowhere to go, though, as Hijikata drops back in. Kiernan now tries to put it in the box, and it's blocked by Maltby. I don't think you get a lot from Kiernan in wide areas. She's good in behind, making that run in behind, but she's trying to take on Maltby at the moment, and every time Maltby's able just to stand her up and shuffle her wide.
Yeah, it's not a winger realistically, and the problem is at the moment is that Olsen's dropping into link up. She can then release it into Kiernan, and even if Kiernan can get that ball in, the only player she's really got in there is Enderby to aim for. And I'll be honest, I think Enderby's got some potential, but I wouldn't be inspired saying she hasn't scored a WSL goal yet.
Yeah, absolutely. Corner now then for Liverpool. Ball in towards the back post. That's headed away from Liverpool players. It's put back into the box by Woodham. That's not a good delivery though. And Chastity Grant steers it clear. Now Kade welcome to the stream. Says, hey everyone, welcome Kade. Liverpool now with the ball again. Evans. Now Nagano. Shifts it wide into Parry. Midfield options on here, but she wants to look down the line. And that's cut out well. The problem is as well, Olsen is competing against 3 players tonight, really. Daly out to the right-hand side. Grant shimmies inside. Now feeds it through to Hansen. Nice move this down the right-hand side for Aston Villa. Hansen now goes back to Taylor. Slips it into Kendall, who's broken into the box. Great defending in there from McLean. And gets away with one there. I thought she kicked it out of play. Must have taken a touch off Kendall.
Yeah, no, smartly just seemed to volley it into Kendall's shin. Not volley it, but knock it into Kendall's shins. But better from Liverpool. They recovered well there when Villa were running at them. And to be fair, Liverpool are the ones getting on the ball. But I don't think Aston Villa will necessarily mind that. I think both sides will be happy with this game being played the way it is. Liverpool and Gareth Taylor want to have the ball, want to dictate the tempo, and Villa will be happy to, play transition football, play on the counter, and then look to break in behind them with pace when they get the chance to. There you go, 67% of the ball for Liverpool in the first 7 minutes.
Yeah, in fairness as well, Aston Villa have that goal now. There's no indication. I don't know why, by the way, the WSL graphic for possession there had it even. Well, that was 50-50, but it said 67. Kade says, why did it show that Villa played today and also on Sunday? Surely that's not possible. Yeah, that is 3 days between the game. Pass now in towards Maltby in the box. Looks to cut it across. And that's cleared away well by Clark. But yeah, this is a game postponed from earlier in the season. And it's a Thursday night because they didn't want it to clash with the Women's Champions League. Hijikata feeds it through, tries to slip it in behind. One back well by Clark. And now Kiernan brought down in there. And that is a foul from Parker.
Yeah, that's where Kiernan can work. If you can isolate her against the wide centre half, and then either get her to hold the ball up and win a foul, or even if you don't use her on the ball, just to drag a player out of the way, may just work for Liverpool tonight. Because then that will give the pocket for Olsen to run into, and then suddenly you've got Beta Olsen in behind once again.
Clark looks just to send it long, and it's brought down well by Parker. Now Taylor. Back to Patton, who feeds it through into Hijikata. And Nagano comes across, and that's one back well in there by Parry. Nowhere to go, though, for Parry. Gives the ball away. Pulls back Hijikata. Advantage played, though, as Villa have possession. One back well in there by Kirsty McLean. Tidy interception. And then lovely footwork there from McLean, who does give back to Evans, who's under a little bit of pressure there from Daly. But they do play out well. Woodham into Enderby. Knocks it past Grant. Now wants to break down that wing. But it's good defending there as it's swept up by the right centre half, Noel Moritz. And Aston Villa there, able to deal with Liverpool trying to progress that ball. Kirby. Pass out to Evans. It's one of those where if you looked at this first 9 minutes and Liverpool hadn't gifted Villa a goal, you'd say Liverpool been the better side.
Yeah.
But a mistake of that magnitude so early on puts a real dampener on things.
Yeah.
Clark. Now Parry. Because I think they've done okay in possession. They're progressing it nicely. It's just that final ball at the moment. It's not really coming off for Liverpool and that penetration. But broadly, they're moving the ball quite nicely. They're moving the ball with a bit of confidence. Kiernan bounce it back to Kapox now. He's got space in his pocket to work with. Opts to go backwards though. McLean in support. And now out wide to Gemma Evans. Nagano. Tidy turn in there. McLean, Nagano. Into Enderby now in the half space. Shifts it wide. And there's a lot of room here for Lily Woodham to work with. Ball in. Not a great delivery though from Woodham. And that bounces out for a goal kick. Has to be better there. You can see Olsen was making that run to the near post. And Woodham doesn't quite catch that the way she would have wanted to.
No, a bit of a letdown that for Liverpool, because that was really good football, playing through the Villa press. Enderby just coming inside to allow Woodham to bomb on down the left.
That's exactly where Liverpool like to create chances in central areas and then push the ball wide and then look to get it across the box. Whereas Aston Villa are very different. They like to progress through the wide areas and then look for cutbacks. Once they get there, Parry is down now. And this will be concerning. Just receiving treatment. I think it may just be a nosebleed there.
Yeah, I think she was caught by a flailing arm a moment ago, which is going to hurt a bit. But of course, it's one of those that should be able to run off. A player who has really struggled with injuries over the last couple of seasons. Now it's through necessity. They just have to come straight back in and start back-to-back games, which I'm sure Gareth Taylor wouldn't have wanted to have to do. But
Liverpool have so many injury-prone players. They've got Parry, who's picked up a few major injuries, and they brought in as a cover Risa Shimizu, who's just come off the back of an ACL injury. So she comes back in, immediately gets injured. Parry then comes back in. Hopefully she'll be okay to continue here. It does seem to be all right. I mean, they've got Alejandra Bernabé back amongst substitutes tonight. I think that's really important. I thought she looked really decent last season on loan. I haven't seen her yet this campaign, though.
I think Fisk is a big miss at the moment as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, her organisation, her leadership in that back line, so important to the way Liverpool play. And yeah, Clark and Evans, as we've already seen in this game, capable of making some pretty big blunders. Passing Tide looking for handsome, brilliant tackle in there from McLean. The shining light as ever with this Liverpool side is that midfield. I think Kirsty McLean slotted in seamlessly. Fuka Nagano is just consistently excellent. It's a huge loss of Mary-Therese Herbinger. She's out till the end of the campaign now. Another long-term injury for her. Sam Kerr as well, out for a few months. Lovely turn from Kapox in there. Now across to McLean. Into Enderby now. Also making the run in behind. Shifts it out to the left-hand side with Woodham. Liverpool trying to get numbers forward quickly here. Woodham waiting for someone in the half space. Lovely movement from Kapox. Tries to open up for the shot. Dealt with well there on the edge of the box by Miri Taylor. Kiernan trying to make something happen now. That's not a great delivery though. Woodham will try and keep it alive, but it will be Grant to get there. She's going to try and see it out here, the Villa wing back, and does well under pressure.
Yeah, again, it's good football from Liverpool. There's just a couple of passes in there that just took the momentum out of the move. They sprung it forward really quickly. Great turn for Kapox. Shifts it into Enderby, whose pass out wide to Woodham was just didn't have enough on it. And although Woodham got there, it just slows the move down. But I mean, I love watching Kapox. What I love so much about her is everything she tries to do is really positive. Which is really risky from Villa. I'll tell you what.
Taylor, fortunate there.
Yeah, she'd done well to rig out. It's why I find those ones weird where the referee waited until she'd managed to wriggle out of it to give the free kick, because she did manage to just about get away from it here, and then she wins the free kick as she turns to go.
I think you can almost make an argument that it's a foul the other way.
Yeah, they're just jostling for the ball. There's not much wrong with that.
Yeah, I think Mary Taylor fortunate there. Here is D'Angelo. And now Parker wants to carry it forwards. Pass right through the middle of the pitch into Hansen. We can now look to spread it wide. Parker. D'Angelo. And we can see here Villa getting really wide. And D'Angelo just waiting for Villa structure to take shape. And now they'll carry it forwards. Here's Patton. Moritz. Shifts it down the line into Daly. Lovely silky move from Villa. Into Grant now. Has support in the box and on the edge. Cuts it back. And there is an offside flag up, I believe, against Chastity Grant, which she is shocked by. And I have to say, I agree with her confusion there.
Yeah, not too sure about that one. Must have been very, very tight if it was offside.
Unfortunately, we are not going to get a replay.
No.
On that occasion.
But yeah, first 15 minutes here, we've seen some really good football play from both sides. As you said earlier, it's just that terrible mistake from Liverpool could have really cost them this, because it's been a good game from both sides apart from that, and I wouldn't really say either side deserves to be losing at the moment.
No, Liverpool haven't created anything yet. They keep getting into good areas, but Woodham's crosses haven't been great. Kiernan's somehow been worse. That's the problem for Liverpool, is where does that chance creation come from?
Yeah.
Because Capox is a big goal threat in that attack midfield role, but not really a creative player. Bater Olsen's a great goal threat. Enderby and Kiernan haven't shown anything really this season. Ball into the right area, Daly. Gilt-edged opportunity that she misses, an offside flag up to spare her blushes somewhat. But that's a big opportunity there at the near post that she's poked wide.
Yeah, again, another good move from Aston Villa. It's Hijikata driving it forwards. No one gets anywhere near her. Just allows her to saunter with the ball towards the Liverpool penalty area. Gets it out wide to Hansen, who's put that across the box with some pace towards Daly, who should really do better.
Yeah.
But it was offside anyway, so it won't matter.
Another interesting offside call. I think it must have been against Hansen. But, yeah, not sure on that one either. Kirby out now to the left-hand side. Here's Evans. Back to Faye Kirby, and that's a poor pass out again from Kirby. Hijikata now shoots wide of the mark. But another big mistake from Faye Kirby, and it almost catches Liverpool out again.
Yeah, pass just was not good enough. I'm not sure what she's trying to do. The touch, she's put under pressure from the pass, but you don't just... If you put under pressure, yeah, she's done the right thing in terms of getting it out first time, but if you're going to get it out, you kick it out. You don't try and pass it out. You just put it out for a throw. Instead, she tries to pick out a Liverpool player, gets it wrong, and passes it straight to Hijikata. In that situation, when you're under pressure from the striker, like that, you just got to put your foot through and kick out for a throw.
I'd like to revise my answer of where Liverpool need to sign a player the most. I think goalkeeper's been such a big problem. We have no idea what's happening with Rafaela Borgraf and her investigation from the FA. But surely, I mean, even if it's just a loan till the end of the season, the amount of times their goalkeepers have cost them this campaign. Pass out to the left-hand side. Maltby knocks it in behind. Here's Hansen trying to put it in the box. And that's blocked well by Clark. And that's a really good challenge there to knock it out for a throw rather than a corner.
Yeah, Villa have just responded a little bit to the early possession from Liverpool. You know, Villa obviously got that goal within the first minute. Liverpool then reacted well by getting on the ball and moving it forwards. But you feel like Aston Villa have just started to swing the pendulum the other way and are now enjoying a bit more of the ball themselves and are creating some good or ending up in some good opportunities, even if they aren't creating them themselves.
Yeah, indeed. Throw in then on the far side for Aston Villa. Pass back now into Taylor, who's under pressure from Capox. Goes back to a goalkeeper. Kiernan putting her under pressure. D'Angelo, though, sending it long. Bounce around in midfield. Here's Hansen. Strong from Clark, but Hansen rides the challenge well. Here's Daly. Out now to the left-hand side. Rachel Maltby. Overlapping well. Has support now of Hijikata. Looks to go alone here and get the ball into the box. Dealt with well by Kiernan. And now they'll try and play out. Parry passes it on. Kiernan, 2. Flat-footed there. And the ball's picked off by Parker. Taylor. Back now to Patton. Taylor. Let's pass around the corner there. Into Parker. Now Patton. Taylor. Nice bit of fluidity in this Villa move. Taylor. And now Parker. He's just dropped into Patton's role as Patton pushed up. Now goes back to D'Angelo. No one putting immediate pressure on D'Angelo here. Showendale says, your assessment of that first goal, who was at fault? It's difficult to say who's more at fault between Evans and Kirby. I would say Kirby. I think coming out and as a goalkeeper, you've got to be a good communicator. I think even then, once Evans makes the mistake and leaves it to her and Kirby isn't aware of that, Kirby just got to knock it out of play. And instead she passed it straight back to Daly. So it's poor from both. It's clearly poor communication between them. But I put more of the blame on the goalkeeper. She can see what's happening, and even once something goes wrong, she doesn't react in the right way.
Yeah, exactly that. For me, as you know, Kirby being the goalkeeper, either she has called for that ball and then got it wrong, or she hasn't called for it, and in that case, she's come running out of her goal and not told a defender that she was coming. So yeah, it's one of those.
That's why I put a little bit of benefit on the doubt, because benefit of the doubt on Evans, because if she's heard a call from Kirby to leave it, then she's trying to leave it for Kirby, perhaps not realising where she is in the pitch. But yeah, it's one of those just clear poor communication again at the back from Liverpool. Ball in behind, and Evans does well there to stop the run in behind. Kirby out now to the right hand side. Here's Parry back now to Clark. Showender says, yeah, she has to be ready to collect the ball. She almost seems surprised the ball's gone through. Well, yeah, that's what makes me wonder whether she has called for it or not. But if she hasn't called for it, then why is she out there? So, yeah, got to be better communication. I think as well, so many times this season, Kirby comes out and then stands still. I mean, we saw it on Saturday against Arsenal. Seeing Blacksenius' goal, she comes out and then the defenders get back in and stop Blacksenius momentarily. That gives so much time for her to retreat to her line. And instead, she just stands in no man's land. And it gives Blacksenius so much space to find the finish. End of it. And that's McLean under pressure there, gets away with it. As Daly turns it over, it's back to Kirby. And here is the Liverpool goalkeeper.
Liverpool got to find a way to start troubling Aston Villa, because they've still had more of the ball in these 22 minutes, but they haven't had a shot yet.
Yeah,
and you don't win football games if you don't shoot. They've got to find a way to get progress the ball up the pitch and then start to really put some pressure onto D'Angelo in that Aston Villa net.
Yeah, Kirby trying here, looking for that forward pass, gives it into McLean, who knocks it round the corner, and it's picked off by Maltby. Now it's with Grant. Taylor. Villa forced backwards initially. Where was the option for McLean there? Have to say, don't think it was a great pass, but she's under pressure from behind, so she can't turn out. Ball down the left-hand side of Hijikata. Strikes across it and it's blocked well by Nagano. There's an offside flag up anyway against Maya Hijikata. But what was the option there for McLean after receiving that from Kirby? Because the centre-half is covered because Villa are pressing with the front two. So she has to try a glory ball out to the right-back there.
Yeah, I think the as you say, she didn't have another option. Yes, it was she did play a blind pass round the corner, which isn't the smartest thing to do, but she kind of had to try it, because if not, she was just going to get dispossessed.
Clark. Now Parry. Here's Nagano. Evans. Looking for a forward option. Woodham almost too high here. And Grant will pick off that pass as as Evans tries it. Here come Villa. Grant down the right-hand side. Tries to cut it back. McLean gets back in there well. Now Woodham. Into Bater Olsen. Here come Liverpool. Wants to come inside. Olsen does well, and then she's pulled back in there by Patton. And she'd be lucky not to be booked for that one.
Yeah.
I know it's early in the game, but she's making no attempt for the ball. And Olsen was away from her.
Yeah, again, Villa. So again, Liverpool, you get Olsen on the ball and things will happen.
Yeah.
Because she's just direct. She wants to run uphill. She wants to take people on. It's really good. She picks the ball up, and yeah, Patton has been booked for that, understandably so.
Yeah, absolutely.
But again, it's direct from Olsen. She, rather than try and squeeze away through, down the line, she just goes, tell you what, I'm going to run at these two players. And she runs directly at the two Villa defenders, and she's won a free kick from it. It's so good. Of course it's risky, because she could run at them, lose the ball, and suddenly it's turned over. But she backs herself to not only get past them, but to win that physical duel or be taken out as she was.
And it's the thing, I think there are some incredibly talented players at Liverpool that they can build around. The likes of Kapox, Olsen, Herbinger, Nagano, Kurt, McLean are all really good players. Ball into the box. Clark was looking for it. And it's cleared away by Villa. And now Kapot's going to head it down. And there is either a foul or an offside call in there.
Yeah, it's a Villa free kick. It was it's a bit of a soft one. But I think Hijikata was trying to clear the ball away and was being pulled out a little bit.
Yeah, but that's the thing with Liverpool. They've got all those talented players, but they don't really have anyone at the moment because Kapoch is being played in attack midfield that offers threat in wide areas.
Yeah,
and I think their back line has been a mess all season. I think Fisk improves it massively. I think Grace Fisk is a really decent player. I think the problems have often been around her. And yeah, Clark and Evans together are just too error prone.
Yeah, it's sort of one of those where I look at it and I think that the likes of Olsen and Kapox, everything they try to do is positive. Every touch they take, it's trying to be on the front foot and be aggressive. But I just don't think that's matched at the moment by other players. And obviously, I think McLean is the same, Nagano as well. I know she's a defensive midfielder, so she doesn't do it too much, but she still wants to.
I think everything Nagano does is very positive, to be fair.
Yeah, I just think it's those kind of players, it's not being matched by the other players who are slowing it down and taking more touches, not because they purposely want to slow the game down, but I think it is just a bit of a quality difference. Some players for Liverpool have got the ability to play that first time ball and accurately. You can tell though there are still some others that do need that extra touch to just settle themselves.
Yeah, I think it's one of those where obviously you've got a side that was assembled by Matt Beard, used to playing that brand of football where they'd be very defensive and then just look to break away, and they relied on quality attackers. Villa turn the ball high at the pitch. Here is Hansen. Now Taylor. Back to Parker. He's under pressure here from Kiernan. Ball slips in behind. Olsen could get to this, and D'Angelo just about gets there. But Parker played that back to D'Angelo. Wasn't just about enough on that one.
Yeah, very close one. Good pressure from Kiernan. And the pass was a little bit under hit. D'Angelo has done very well to get there ahead of Olsen, who was charging in on it. And I thought we were going to see this game levelled by another blunder at the back.
Yeah.
But again, more positive from Villa, from Liverpool. It's flipped and flopped a bit in this game.
But it is now Villa coming forwards, and it's Grant in behind. She's got Hansen in the box. Will play it in. Hansen now, and she pokes it home. And Villa double their advantage. A quick, incisive move down the right-hand side again from Aston Villa. A lovely combination between Grant and Daly. A ball slipped in then to Hansen in the area, and she pokes it past Kirby. And there, once again, Liverpool opened up too easily. Villa breaking behind, and Hansen with her 5th goal of the campaign.
Yeah, again, Villa turn on the style. It's brilliant football down the right-hand side. And Daly and Grant completely take Woodham out of the equation. Woodham goes in towards Daly, not only commits the foul, but commits forward, gets caught out, and leaves space for Grant to run in behind, and has the very easy job of playing the ball into Hansen, and Hansen finishing through the legs of Kirby. But Lily Woodham there, I mean, that is a double blow. Not only did she take Rachel Daly out, but still didn't stop the attack, left space in behind her, and Villa have gone and punished that.
And Kirsty Hansen, with that strike, now is the 2nd top scorer in the WSL this season.
Every year she does it.
Stuff.
You never expect it. like Kirsty Hansen isn't one of those incredible, glorious, world-class players, but every year she will turn up and deliver a consistent, an output.
Yeah, she's been incredibly reliable. And I think in that sort of second striker role this season, she's absolutely thriving. Already matched her goal tally from last season. Very strong start to the campaign for the Scot. Pass out to the left-hand side. Here is Maltby. Looks to play it in behind. Hansen tries to hold it up. It's going to bounce through there, and Daly can compete with Evans. And not sure which way it's going to go. It will be a Liverpool throw-in. Tough one, really, to ascertain.
Yeah. If I'm Parry, I'm picking this ball up and throwing it as quickly as possible because I think Evans has just scuffed that out of play. But I think the angle and the bodies in between the referee and the ball have let him down a little bit there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Liverpool, again, needing a reaction. I mean, Aston Villa, it's a really difficult one for Liverpool because, yes, Liverpool haven't had a shot, but Aston Villa had 2 shots on target and they've both gone in, which, again, doesn't speak value, does not look good, does not reflect well on Kirby, but that's why it's another one where, of course, Liverpool are losing and Villa have played well, but it's one of those where it's quite unlucky as a side, or not unlucky, but it's very rare that a side are conceding every single shot, a side score every single shot they put on target.
Yeah, and for a Villa side who have been in clinical this season, that have lacked that cutting edge, there's no better occasion than getting to play Liverpool.
Yeah.
Because, as you say, they've been really good in front of goal tonight, Aston Villa.
I think we said at the start of the show that both sides will get chances. It's just about who takes them. Villa have had chances and they've taken them. Liverpool haven't had theirs yet, but they will come at some point, and it will come down to whether they take theirs and in the same clinical manner that Aston Villa have played in.
Yeah, indeed. And both the chances they've had so far this evening, Villa, have been nice ones to take. Nagano into Parry. Goes back now to Clark. And across to Evans. Now looking for that wide option. The problem they've got at the moment, Liverpool, is this sort of disconnect between Evans and Woodham. And it's because in the first few weeks of the season, the right back has usually been Fisk or Shimizu, and so she's tucking into the right hand side of a back three. But now that it's Parry, and even last week they had Silcox, they were playing a back three. But now that it's Parry's wider, so Evans can't push wide. But the problem is Woodham's still going really high and wide. So there's such a big distance between the left centre half and left back at the moment. I mean, that's why there was all that space for the goal that they've just scored. And it's why at the moment Liverpool are really struggling to progress down that wing. And in fact, Liverpool wouldn't have got the ball into Aston Villa's half in this game if it wasn't for Nagano.
Yeah.
Montserrat says, I'm incredibly confused by what's going on at Liverpool. I think it's too many players who aren't fit for the system and a manager who has one style of play is incredibly dogmatic in that style of play. And Liverpool board knew that when they brought him in, and yet didn't bring in players that would be able to play that system. They've got some players. I think their midfield, I think some of their attackers, like Pox and Olsen, are perfect for what Gareth Taylor wants. But you've got a backline who aren't comfortable on the ball, a goalkeeper who is never comfortable on the ball. They're key for the way that Gareth Taylor wants to play football.
Yeah.
Here is Daly. Tries to feed it through there.
But that's what confused me about Liverpool is and the higher ups is because they went big. They went big. They went bold and probably had to spending quite a bit of money on bringing Gareth Taylor in. They took that gamble to go for a top class coach to take them to the next level. But if you're gonna do that, you've got to back him up in the transfer market. You can't. Doesn't matter how good the manager is or what the teams have managed before or whichever way they want to play. You've got to back them in the transfer market. If not, it doesn't make a difference. And that's what really stuns me. It just seems to be mixed signals across the board. You can't be, you can't, it's not a gamble, but you can't be big and bold with bringing in a manager, but then not have that same intensity and that same investment in terms into the playing squad.
Well, exactly. I mean, you could bring Jonathan Geraldes into this Liverpool side. He's not going to, they're not going to be top of the league.
No.
As good as a manager as Geraldes is, it's not the style of play that the players are going to be able to play. And I think, it's such a shame Liverpool haven't properly invested in Taylor in that project. I mean, Rachel Corsie put it really, put it nicely on Saturday when speaking about, it's Liverpool Football Club. And you look at that squad, you look at the fact there's only 5 substitutes on the bench on Saturday. It's not good enough.
No, not at all.
Monster says the squad composition doesn't match the standard required for coach's strategy. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's Liverpool's biggest problem. I think that, and a lot of the players, regardless of strategy, aren't WSL level.
Yeah.
I think that's a huge problem. I mean, like Enderby and Kiernan, we keep speaking about as, they're players with a load of potential, but Enderby's never scored a WSL goal, and Kiernan is just so inconsistent and not a right winger. I will say that, to give a little cut or a little bit of slack, especially for tonight. She's not a right winger, but they're so inconsistent, those players. A lot of the back line is really struggling this season with individual errors. The goalkeeper, Faye Kirby, clearly isn't a WSL level goalkeeper yet. And she's been absolutely thrown in the deep end. She's only 21. If she was given time to develop properly, potentially she would be a very good goalkeeper. I think at the moment her confidence is absolutely shot to bits because she's coming to WSL this season and keeps making mistakes every single game. Kiernan ball into the box was flattened there in the aftermath. Referee didn't seem to notice, but she did get the ball into the box, so Villa play on.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. I think that because obviously Gareth Taylor wants to avoid what happened last year for Liverpool, where the goalkeeping position was an absolute merry-go-round between 3 or 4 different players. I think he wants to build consistency and back Kirby, but would you throw Laws in for a game?
Well, this is the confusing thing. It's the only merit that looked like it hit the hand there. Chastity Grant is driving the ball forwards now, shifts it to Daly, and Villa are coming forwards, looking dangerous once again. Kirsty Hansen makes the run towards the near post. Kirby out much better this time, and she sweeps up the ball. The only argument for I don't think Rachel Laws is the top level goalkeeper, but she's a much more secure and less error prone goalkeeper than Kirby. The argument for bringing someone like Faye Kirby in is that she'd be better with the ball at her feet.
Yeah.
I was thinking, obviously, at the start of the season, there was an injury to Faker. There was an injury to Rachel Laws, balling behind there for Beta Olsen. Looked like she was in. Flag does go up. There's an injury to Rachel Laws, so it's now difficult to sort of reintegrate her. Potentially, we could see after the winter break that happen. I actually think, Rafaela Borgraf looks really solid.
Yeah.
It's such a shame. I don't know the ins and outs of the situation until the FA, conclude their investigation. I don't want to talk about it too much or judge either way. Wait for the facts to come out, but it's a shame for Liverpool that this whole situation around Borgraf has happened because she actually looked quite good, and that was the goalkeeper they brought in to play that goalkeeping role. So Kirby and Laws were only supposed to be backups, and that's absolutely killed them.
That's the thing with the investment. I agree they need to invest more, but when you look at the people they have brought in, it's incredibly unlucky that Bernabé came in and got injured. Shimitsu's come in and got injured. Shimchat's come in and got injured. As you say, Borgraf has, that whole situation's happened, which isn't ideal.
He's come in and got injured.
Yeah. I mean, it's incredible. I don't know what they've done to their new signings in their, I don't know, whether there's an initiation they had to do.
It's the same cycle as City, though, where City had last season, where they got injured players, and then the players they did have, because their squad was too light, played too much, and then they got injured, and then the initial injured players came back from injury, and then they've got to play all the time because the rotation options are also injured. So you just end up with this constant cycle of injured players.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Parry picked up an injury in the next couple of games.
She's only just come back from a major injury
because she's had to start against Arsenal. She started tonight, and she will probably start against West Ham at the weekend. And that's 3 starts in the space of 7 days for a player that's just come back from injury. And
we've said injury way too many times in the last few minutes.
That is true. But also, very similar to Man City, Fuke Nagano seems to just, like you have to go. You just can't touch
ball down the right-hand side. Kipox can't quite latch onto that one. Monster says it's better to back the coach of the players or find a more direct coach who can work better with current players, I wonder. I think for me, if this was any other season where you've got an automatic relegation spot, I would say that it is much easier to replace one coach than it is to replace, a number of players. But I don't see a world, one, where Liverpool finish bottom anyway.
Yeah.
Because I think they are a much better side than the 3 above them. And I think if they invest anything in January, they'll be okay. No, I think Olsen's a good enough player that she can just fire them to stay in the division.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if West Ham lost some of their stars. Shakira Martinez, Rico Ueki, the likes. So if it was any other season, I'd be concerned. But this season, I realistically don't see them finishing bottom anyway. And if they do, they should beat Bristol City or Newcastle in a one-off game. Now, they wouldn't want to leave it to that chance. But I really don't think there's any need to tear up this project at the first hurdle to bring in... I mean, who do you even bring in at this point?
Yeah, exactly that. I think they would have realised that. And I think that's why they did go for Taylor, because they know they've got time on their hands.
Positive touch here from Cornelia Kapok. Started inside where their shot was blocked. Corner now for Liverpool.
Everything she does
make happen
is so positive, but we haven't seen her on the ball enough. I think Liverpool are not out of this game by any stretch of the imagination, because they've got players that can turn this around, and they've got they've got plenty of time to get themselves right back into this game.
Yeah, indeed. So, corner now for Liverpool. Ball swung into the penalty area. Good delivery there, and no one attacks it. For Liverpool, Clark tried to make the movement towards, and it's quite clear who they're targeting with those set pieces. One high here by Lily Woodham. Can she pick out the right delivery? Good ball into the area. Headed away well by Patton. And Liverpool players there, despite the ball being recycled, they'd all seem to have left the box.
Yeah, Woodham, actually, to be fair, give her credit, that was a really good ball in. First of the night for her, probably.
But Patton was unopposed.
Yeah.
There was one Liverpool shirt in the area. Ball in behind. Grant's going to get the beating here of Parry. Chance now for Grant in behind, a little bit wide. And that is a comfortable save, really, for Faye Kirby, given the angle. But Villa breaking away in behind once again.
And this is where I think Parry back and getting other defenders back will be crucial, because she loses the foot race here incredibly, but she just does enough to be there and force Grant wide.
She recovers really well. It doesn't get completely caught out.
And I think that's sometimes what some Liverpool players and some defenders don't do, is they just seem to panic and just do something completely daft that then just makes it a lot easier for the attacker.
Yeah, I think this is a big opportunity missed, I have to say, from Liverpool. Because Villa have done well to capitalise on Liverpool mistakes, but they haven't really created anything for themselves.
No.
And I think, Liverpool, after what was a positive performance against Arsenal and a huge result against Chelsea in their last two games, after Villa had that crushing defeat to Tottenham, and they've got a number actually, of key players missing, but obviously most prevalently or most recently, it is Flynn Wilms and Ocean de Landes. You really thought they could have capitalised here, Liverpool, but now with half a game to go, or as we approach half time, it looks like already too big a mountain for them to ascend. Yeah,
and it's one of those where I think Liverpool got enough to pull it back. But do I think Liverpool can score 2 goals? Yes, but do I think they can do it without Villa replying? Probably not, and that's the problem they're in now. Is that if Liverpool go for it, they'll get more opportunities, yes, but they'll also hand more opportunities to Villa, and we know how clinical Villa have already been tonight.
But to be fair, without going for it, they're handling opportunities. So
that is true.
Might as well go for it. Enderby out to the left-hand side. Woodham now holds the width well. Villa getting back into their shape. That does enough to see Liverpool back. Evans, now Clark. Into Parry, back to Clark. Who's now looking for that forward pass. Goes back to Parry. Knocks it wide into Cornelia Kapox. Who again wants to be positive in possession. McLean. Pass now into Enderby. And it's back now to Evans. Nagano. Clark. That's what Liverpool got to do. They've got to draw Aston Villa onto them and then play into the space behind. Now it's out wide to Kiernan. What can Leanne Kiernan make happen here? Shifts inside. Nagano. Now McLean. Knocks it wide into Cornelia Kapox. Now she wants to take on Maltby here. Ball into the area. Not a bad delivery. No one in there able to meet it though. Just sort of between the two options there. Olsen had made the front post run. There was a player on the edge as well, but it just seemed to go between the two players there for Liverpool.
Yeah,
much more positive though. They played well though.
Yeah, and they have had these decent spells, but they're just not creating enough chances or not having enough shots. Olsen is going to be played on side here by a Villa player that's down and injured, and I'm not really sure why the whistle has gone. It might be a head injury, but if it is, then that's still poor because that should have been noticed ages ago.
I was going to say, aside for one that's lingered or she's hurt her head while standing still.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, it was a bit fortunate anyway, that because Olsen would have been offside if it wasn't for the Villa player lying on the floor. So I guess that would be the argument. But yeah, bit of a weird one, that.
Yeah. It's poor officiating. Oh, it just hits Patton in the back of the head.
Oh, that happened ages ago.
It's poor officiating regardless. So that should have been spotted initially, yeah.
Because the ball was managed to go out wide, be cleared, and then come back up the pitch from Liverpool, and then the whistle went.
Yeah. While Patton is down, injured Chavez asked, plans for content during the winter break? Are you taking a rest? No rest for the wicked.
No rest for the wicked.
Constant work. And we've got a few ideas for videos. Obviously, we've got the January transfer window coming up, and that is a big time for content. We're discussing rumours and stuff. Got a video tomorrow talking about players who need a move this January. So look out for that at midday. And yeah, we'll just be doing a lot more content around transfers, around January, mid-season review type stuff. In terms of live streams, well, we've still got a WSL weekend. We've still got a Champions League weekend to come before the winter break. And then over the winter break, we'll just be live covering breaking news and that sort of stuff. Hopefully keep the Monday show going where possible. And there is 2 minutes of additional time in this first half. They're mainly due to this stoppage here for Anna Patton, who is sat up again. And it seems here the physios are content to let her play on.
Yeah, it was a weird one because I didn't feel much in it. Didn't collide with anyone. The ball hit the back of her head, but it also was it wasn't like smashed, like it wasn't a shot blocked with the back of her head. The ball kind of just looped up and kind of plonked her on the head almost. But must have just maybe had a bit more pace in it than it seemed to be.
Absolutely. Well, they'll use this opportunity to show that pig mix up for the first goal. Car crash at the back from Liverpool.
But again, it's you even watch it back, and if Kirby's on her toes there, she's flat-footed, which means the ball just rolls and hits her ankle and rebounds to Daly. If she's on her toes there, it doesn't happen. As a goalkeeper, you shouldn't be stood flat-footed on the edge of the area. If you come running out, you should be alert and ready to deal with the whatever's going to happen. But yeah, it's been not been a brilliant half for Liverpool by any stretch of the imagination, but they've still got time in this game to turn it around.
Yeah, well, Liverpool will play on, Patton off for a moment, so Aston Villa are going to drop deep. Here's Kiernan. Ball into the box, and that is claimed well. That looked like it's gone off anyway, so that will be an Aston Villa goal kick. Shouters will ask, Subway Cup weekend? Yes, that is next weekend, isn't it? All the games are on YouTube, so we'll probably try and get down to a game. Unfortunately, Chelsea were at Liverpool, and that is quite far for us. So we'll either go, I think, to West Ham, Man City, or Crystal Palace, Arsenal.
Yeah,
West Ham's slightly more convenient for us, and I wouldn't mind getting down to watch them. So we'll probably go down and watch some Subway League Cup action. Ball forwards from D'Angelo. Headed on, that's going to fall to Evans, who looks to play it down the line. And seen out well in there by Noel Moritz. Moritz going to look for the forward throw. Into Kendall, poked up the line and cleared away by Patton. And that will be a Liverpool throw-in. Which somehow came as a bit of a surprise there to the Villa players about the fact Patton launched that out of play.
Yeah.
Wouldn't. A lot of movement from the Liverpool attackers. No one really getting to a position to receive this throw though. Woodham now into Enderby. Back to Woodham, who has been caught in the challenge there by Rachel Daly, and that will be a Liverpool free kick. And that was quite aggressive from Rachel Daly. But Woodham takes it well. But yeah, that really should have been a card.
Yeah, very late from Daly. Maybe a final chance here of the half for Liverpool just to fire this deep free kick into the penalty area and maybe get something from it.
Yeah, indeed. Woodham. Ball into the box. No one able to get the flick on. Clark will keep this alive now. All the visitors tries to get around Parker. Parker does really well there to use her body. Clark still battling away. Parker goes down, kicks it out. I think that's been given there as a Villa free kick. It's, again, very fortunate.
Not too sure about that. There's been a couple of those where players have just been jostling and there's been a free kick given for it. And I'm not... I just think it's a bit unnecessary. Let the game play. Let them... If Villa are going to get themselves into trouble and then try and see the ball out in a really daft place to do it, then let them be hassled.
Yeah, indeed. Ball forward from D'Angelo, and that is the half-time whistle at the break here at Villa Park. It's Aston Villa 2, Liverpool 0. Both chances gifted by some pretty poor pieces of defending from the visitors. A big mistake after just 27 seconds gifted Rachel Daly a chance, took the ball in the back of the net and a chance she wasn't going to miss. And then later into the first half, Villa managed to break down the right-hand side with Lily Woodham caught high up the pitch. A square ball from Grant finished off by Kirsty Hansen. So at the break, it's Aston Villa 2, Liverpool 0.
Yeah, clinical from the home side. And Liverpool once again find themselves in a very difficult position in a WSL game this season, which will be very disappointing because you felt in the last couple of game weeks they've been starting to make a lot of progress. The draw against Brighton, that was so nearly a win. The draw to Chelsea as well at home, and then only losing by 2-1 at the Emirates, and another game where they were only 2 minutes away from taking a point away from Arsenal. And you felt they could have used that momentum and built on that in this tie, but they're kind of just falling away without a trace. Not had enough attempts on goal, not tested D'Angelo at all in that Villa net, and defensively the errors really catching up to them, and the main reason why they are trailing in this game. But yeah, I'm sure Gareth Taylor will be frustrated with the way his side played in that first 45 minutes, and Natalia Arroyo on the other side of the dugout will be pretty pleased with the clinicality of her side in the final third.
Well, Villa have had a knack of being really strong against the top sides. And so, well, obviously, given Liverpool's position in the table, you would naturally assume that, this may be a little bit more difficult for them. But actually, the way Liverpool play is perfectly suited to the way Aston Villa, or what Aston Villa want to play against. You see their results against like Chelsea and Arsenal this season. It's because they're brilliant without the ball. So possession-dominant teams want to hold on to the ball. Villa, though, are brilliant pressers, really good in transition, and that's where they've been incredibly threatening. And it's where both of the goals have come from tonight. Liverpool in possession, Villa turn it over half the pitch, a nice bit of combination play, and they're able to capitalise on those Liverpool mistakes. But they're not unforced errors. I mean, the first one definitely was, don't get me wrong, but every other time that they've won the ball, it's not unforced errors. It's Villa's strategic out of possession structure, pressing in a way that forces those mistakes from Liverpool, and then they've got players in those attacking areas who are really good at capitalising on them, good at breaking away quickly, and good at finding the back of the net. So they've been really good at it. That's what I mean when I say incisive counterattacks, because there's a real precision to how it's executed. They win the ball back, and then you just see everyone switches on. Then they get forwards, they get into good areas, they get into those wide areas, they overload that Liverpool back line. That's why they're able to create the chances that they are. It's why they were so competitive against Chelsea when they played them earlier in the season. It's why they took a point against Arsenal away at the Emirates as well, albeit their goal on that occasion coming from a set piece. But yeah, it's Liverpool playing a brand of football which requires a higher calibre of player than what they've got.
Yeah, it's one of those where we touched on it in the first half. The Gareth Taylor hasn't been backed up and he's trying to make it work with what he's got, but it just isn't up to scratch. And unfortunately, it's the kind of football where it is risky and it has to be perfect. If you get it wrong, if you're half a yard off the pace, then it's going to cost you massively. And I mean, we even saw it with City when players made errors, it absolutely cost them because of the way they played. It's high risk, high reward, and I think we're seeing for Liverpool this season that with the quality not quite being up to scratch, there's that risk is kind of is higher and it's costing them even more now. And I think that it's especially when we know how stubborn Gareth Taylor is. This is the kind of game where it's 2-0 down and it's not working, and especially when Villa aren't great when against those weaker sides who sit deeper and play more direct. This is where you change it. But Gareth Taylor, we know he's not going to do that because he has this certain way of playing.
Yeah, as I say, very dogmatic in his approach. Liverpool, all of the ball, lacking that penetration. I want to ask where that comes from. It comes from wide players who are not brilliant at chance creation, not decisive enough. And I think that's Liverpool's biggest weakness so far in this game. 56% of the ball. They've dictated the tempo of this match, but one shot to Villa's 5, one touch in the opposition box to Villa's 9. They're criminal statistics. It's Liverpool getting the ball, and they're able to get into the Villa half, but it's that final third penetration. It's breaking that Villa back line. It's picking out players in more dangerous areas. I think at the moment it's Liverpool getting the ball into decent areas, but they're not creating those opportunities. As I say, I don't think their wide players are strong enough creatively. I don't think they're good enough at breaking down low blocks, and that is a big issue for Liverpool. They don't have the players in the wide areas to create issues for teams. And we saw in the opening day of the season against Everton. Now, that game fell apart for them in the second half, but actually that opening goal came from a breakdown on the left-hand side, some really nice possession play from Liverpool, and they were able to get Kapox into a wide area, and then she created a lot of, she created a brilliant goal for herself where she cut inside and took a shot. And obviously, it fell apart from there. That was a game Liverpool really should have won. Vignola just kept picking up the ball in good areas and shooting from anywhere, and it was going in. Probably should have realised at the time one of the issues for Liverpool was goalkeeping. But yeah, once again, tonight, a very similar story. But they don't have players in wide areas that can create issues.
Yeah, I think it's one of those where, of course, it's a bit difficult because they haven't got very many options. But I think Kiernan, when she has touched the ball, hasn't really done anything. And Enderby, very similarly, I know her job is to more facilitate Woodham bombing on, but when Woodham's delivery isn't on point, that then kind of renders Enderby a bit useless because her job is to allow Woodham to excel, but if Woodham's not excelling, then what's Enderby really doing? Kind of stands there as a making up the numbers. But I think both those stats in terms of shots read poorly for Liverpool on both sides because although they haven't done enough. They've obviously not done near enough. But to be 2-0, they've only conceded 5 shots. To be 2-0 down, it will be a really concerning position to be in because it just shows that Villa haven't been brilliant.
Villa haven't needed to be.
No.
Villa haven't done. That's what I mean. Villa haven't created anything off their own volition. They're just capitalising on the Liverpool mistakes. But the 2 goals they have scored tonight were blatantly obvious opportunities. Look at this one, where Hansen is all alone in the penalty area, 1-on-1 with Kirby. And again, it's weak goalkeeping. I don't want to dig out Kirby all the time because there's so many mistakes in here. Woodham gets it horribly wrong. Evans is caught out. Clark's caught out. Parry can't recover quick enough. But she's coming out to the ball there, Kirby, with her legs wide open. She doesn't make it difficult for Hansen in this position. And if in fact she wasn't there with her legs wide open, then Hansen would have to put it outside. There's a good chance the goalkeeper stops it. But instead, she gets away with what isn't a brilliant shot from Kirsty Hansen. But yeah, that's really been the story of the first half. Liverpool giving up the ball in their own third, and Aston Villa capitalising on it fully. Their only shot of the first half, a speculative effort at best from Cornelia Kapox, which was blocked well wide of the mark. But yeah, other than that, Liverpool have had nothing to offer in the final third. They haven't had decisive players in wide areas. I think for me, it's a case of a night like tonight, would you not have used Silcock again in the back 3? And then without any natural wingers who've really been performing, use the wing backs to create the width. Because Parry and Woodham both want to get forwards whenever they can. Let them create the width. Bring in someone like even push Leanne Kiernan into a front 2 with Kapox in the 10. Play the same system as Villa tonight. Match them player for player. Go for that back 3. Keep Silcock in the side. The same back 5 or 3, however you want to call it, that they played the game against Arsenal. Go player for player in wide areas. Go player for player in midfield, and rely on the fact that you've got better attackers, or you've got some really good attackers, and you've got better midfielders to then win those key battles and get into scoring opportunities. Instead, Liverpool are looking to create the width with wide players who simply aren't good enough at it. And Kiernan's not a winger. We've seen that so many times tonight. Every time she picks up the ball, it's too slow, and she's just going to take it to the right. And she's not put in a good cross yet either tonight. And then on the other side, you've got Enderby, who's doing really well to break into that half space and be a bit more of a link player. But the problem is Woodham's deliveries haven't been good enough tonight either. And that's where Liverpool's chances are coming from. Because you've got Capox in that central role, so you're looking to feed her rather than her create the opportunities, and she's not getting on the ball enough tonight. You've got Olsen in that 9 role, and again, you're looking to feed her. She's not going to get she's not getting the ball at all tonight. So the wide players have got to do better for Liverpool, and they're not at the moment. Kiernan's not decisive enough. Kiernan's not good enough for putting the balls into the box. And Woodham's delivery so far tonight. Woodham's putting some great balls this season. Think back to where was it when Beta Olsen scored? Can't remember who they're playing against now. A couple of weeks ago.
Was it the Brighton game?
I think it might have been the Brighton game. It was a great delivery from Woodham, and that was such a key moment because it put a perfect ball into the box as Beta Olsen finished off. We haven't seen a delivery like that from Woodham side, and that's what they've got to do on a more consistent basis.
Yeah, I think that, as you say, if Woodham can get a delivery right, they're going to have a lot of chances. I think that there is options to shift it. I mean,
yeah, it was Brighton.
Of course, you could push Capox wide and bring in Lundgaard, but that's a bit of a risk to bring in Lundgaard, who hasn't really featured. But it's something. The way I'd look at it is it's something different. It's something that Liverpool haven't done yet, so maybe that is worth it. Do you just swap Olsen and Capox? Olsen and Kiernan, because although Olsen is probably better through the middle, you know that Olsen is going to get down the line and be direct, and if she can, Kiernan is still Kiernan is a very good poacher. If you get the ball in the area, she should finish it off. So maybe you do shift them. I think something's got to give though. They can't put out that same front four in the same positions in the second half. They've got to shift it, whether that's a change by bringing in Lundgaard or someone else, or whether you do just swap them around between themselves. Something's got to change though for Liverpool, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the other option, I mean, it depends what Lundgaard can give you. If she can give you 45 minutes, probably bring her into midfield for me. Push McLean into that 10 role, move Capox to the left, Enderby to the right, bring off Kiernan. If Lundgaard can't give you 45, maybe put Hannah Silcock in defence midfield. It's a role that she is capable of playing, and still, push McLean on. Kerry Holland back on the bench. If she can give you 30, then just hold on with what you're doing for now and then get Holland on for Kiernan. The problem is it's got to be something massive now for Liverpool to completely change this game around. I just don't see, you look at that subs bench tonight, you've got a left back, 2 centre halves, a youth player, a winger, and a central midfielder. There's nothing on the bench tonight that makes me go, bring them on and they'll change the game. Whereas, for Aston Villa, Ebony Salmon could come on. They've got Missy Kearns back from injury. They've got Georgia Mullet who can come on. They've got Sarah Mailing, Paula Thomas. That's a really nice selection of players who could come on and have an impact. Whereas I don't really see who comes off that bench for Liverpool and changes the game decisively.
Yeah, and I think the other consideration for Gareth Taylor will be that the biggest game of their season is on Sunday. That's only in 3 days' time. So do you not throw the towel in, but do you look to rest your best players and
you keep Holland for that, knowing that she can start? I mean, you probably want to get on for at least 15 minutes a day to make sure she's, she is fit to play Sunday, but... Yeah, they need her on Sunday.
Yeah, they need Holland, they need Capox, and they need Olsen. They can't risk any of them not playing on Sunday. So it's one of those where I think if they don't score in the first 10, 15 minutes of the second half, maybe you do just bring Lundgaard on for Capox. And
I don't think you can afford to take any of them off.
I don't know, but I think you've got... It depends the way they weigh it up. Of course, you never want to... They've still got to back themselves to turn this around tonight, but I think you also have to look at the bigger picture, because if they get 3 points on Sunday, it doesn't really matter too much what happens tonight.
Yeah, no, I get your point. I do think Villa have had a tendency to throw games away, though, and I think Liverpool have got to look at that. I mean, even the last time out for Villa, they were 1-0 up against Tottenham going into the last 5 minutes, and they came away with no points. Yeah. Chelsea, they drew at half-time, ended up losing that game. Leicester, they're at 50 chances, and they didn't score. And, speaking of a player who didn't score that night, Ebony Salmon coming off the bench then for Aston Villa.
Now, that's not...
an interesting one.
Yeah, do you think that's playing the opposition? I wonder if Arroyo senses an opportunity to get Salmon a goal here, because Villa have been very clinical tonight. They've taken their chances, and the chances that Liverpool have given them have been very clear-cut. So I wonder if Arroyo senses an opportunity to get Salmon back amongst the goals.
I did wonder if it was Hijikata, or she only just come back from injury, but I think I've just seen her coming back out. So, be interesting to see who this is for. Potentially a rest for Hansen. So I don't think she's been rested at all this season.
Potentially. Wouldn't be good for everyone who's got her in aerial fantasy, but yeah.
Is that you, is it?
Yes.
Thought so based on that comment.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the decision is there.
Well-
No, Hansen is... No, that's not Hansen. But yeah, Hijikata's definitely there. And
So I think
so
it must be
Daly.
Kathy
Yeah.
Hansen then. Makes sense. You know, a player who has contributed a lot this season. They've got a big game against City coming up on the weekend. They could do with Salmon getting a goal, getting some confidence back. She's missed so many chances this season. I believe she's yet to score still in this campaign.
She's not got...
Oh, she's got one
Yeah.
goal.
Not
Forward
ideal.
Against, scored against Chelsea, actually. I do remember that goal. Her only other goal coming in the Subway Women's League Cup. And a 3-0 win against Bristol City. But yeah, has had a lot of difficult performances so far this season. Salmon could really do with a goal.
And it's surprising because I thought last season she had that purple patch, didn't she, towards the end of the year? She was on absolute fire, but just hasn't been able to carry that into this campaign so far.
Yeah, she scored against Brighton, West Ham and Tottenham and got us against Arsenal all in the last 4 games of last season. Liverpool to get us back underway here at Villa Park. It's not back bike box all the way to Kirby. And Liverpool now looking to start fast in this second half. Ball in behind. Enderby can't quite get there. It's back in possession of Aston Villa. Strong pressing from McLean. Forward pass now into Kendall. Running out of room. Lucia Kendall goes back now to her goalkeeper D'Angelo, who can launch that one clear. Going to drop in midfield. Daly gets the first contact. Salmon now up against McLean. A bit of a bubble there on the ball. And it's back now to Parker. Pass inside there from Maltby. Hijikata dispossessed. And Parry tried to drive that forwards. Nowhere to go though. Kendall's pass. Hospital somewhat, but it isn't punished by Liverpool. It is then one back in midfield by Nagano. Turned over though by Villa. Then one back by Liverpool. And it's now back to Kirby. Messy exchange there in midfield.
Yeah, it feels like both sides just kept winning the ball back and then giving it straight back to the opposition.
Kirby looking for that forward option out to the left-hand side with Evans. Back to fake Kirby. Wants to lift out to the left-hand side. Woodham. Evans. And now McLean. Back to Clark. Gemma Evans looks to lift it forwards. Cleared away in there by Moritz. Taylor. Patton. Back to Moritz. That ball right over the top. To be recovered by Clark. He's going to try and be just as direct. This finds Woodham and Grant is caught out. Woodham shifts it inside to Enderby. And there's a flag up there. Must be against Lily Woodham. But I'm not really sure how.
Yes, and a lot of offsides for Liverpool has been another thing. So it's a shame you don't get any replays of anything tonight. But yeah, I'm not too sure about that one because Woodham seemed to have a lot of, seemed to. It wasn't one of those where she picked the ball up and seemed to be ahead of everyone else.
Yeah. No, it's just another weird one. Again, the camera is quite zoomed in, and you don't get any replay to show where anyone is.
Yeah.
Odd one. Anyway, out now for a Villa throw. Absolutely loving the lineup. So I was wondering what you were laughing at. Now I'm looking at them. Absolutely terrible from Sky.
Yeah,
Daly.
Yeah.
Back now to Grant. Enderby wins it back. That's team too aggressive in there from McLean. And yeah, just jostling with Moritz does drag her down a bit there, Kirsty McLean.
Held
Reaching out too many complaints.
held her all the way and never let go. But not again. We see it doesn't seem to be a dramatic shift for kind of not like expecting something major. But I thought Liverpool might have come out with looking a bit sharper. But not much seems to have changed from the first half.
Well, Lucia Kendall over this then.
Quite a quiet night for Kendall so far.
Yeah, again, I think you're not going to win that midfield battle over Liverpool. A
Mm.
lot of the play has been in those wide areas of Villa. That's where they've had more joy. Patton, Grant, brilliant around the corner into Hijikata. Takes aim, cannons off the near post. Don't mind that from Hijikata. There wasn't really an option in the penalty area. Probably should have tested the goalkeeper.
Yeah, it
does that area, but
does the right thing because there was space there. The front post, there was a gap between Kirby and the post, but Hijikata couldn't quite find it and just smashes it against the outside of the frame. Not a bad effort though from the youngster.
Yeah, as you're trying to squeeze it in there, I think you've just got to put it on target.
Mm.
There's a good chance that it could go in.
Arroyo adopting the Bielsa there.
Yeah.
On the touchline.
Clark into Parry. She's doing it without a cooler though. That now, by the looks of it.
That is impressive. Not sure she could do that for 90 minutes.
She must just sit at home doing wall sits to prepare. Brilliant core strength from Natalia Arroyo. Villa now in possession. Thrown down the line by Parker into Salmon, who's muscled off the ball, and that's out for a throw. I think that's Salmon's another issue for Ebony Salmon. She's great in behind. I think, that timing of the run, reading of the play is really strong, but she can't ride contact particularly well.
Mm.
I think she is too easy to muscle off the ball. Ball forwards now into Woodham. Grant gets back in there. She's a little bit lucky there to win a throw because it looked like it came off Chastity Grant.
Yeah, referee was very certain that was a Villa throw. I'm not really sure how he came to that conclusion. Didn't really think twice about it.
And debate. Back now to Evans. Clark steps into midfield confidently. Back now to Evans. And now Woodham. Evans. Clark did the right thing there. She beat the first line of press by being brave and carrying that ball through.
Mm.
And then turned around and get back to Gemma Evans. And I think there was... she could have played forward there. Anyway, Kirby now just bringing this ball out from the back. Drills out to the left-hand side. Woodham brings it under her control well. McLean. Nagano. And that's the kind of thing that you'd see in training as Gareth Taylor and go, well, that's the goalkeeper I want. Someone who can distribute a ball like that, because that's a really nice pass. The problem is she's got it wrong way too many times this season. Kiernan brings it forward. Not a bad delivery. Low, looking for Olsen, but it's blocked well. One back out the pitch there by Parry, who's been caught in the aftermath. Now Salmon looking to take on Clark. Brilliant from Jenna Clark to recover.
And they're the kind of moves that Liverpool need. Yes, it hasn't resulted in a shot, but it's better football. Yeah. 1-2 touch football just down the right-hand side.
And to be wide into Woodham. Nice work again. Woodham looked for that first-time ball. Wasn't quite on. Now shifts it inside. Great run from McLean. And that is aggressive from Moritz. And she's lucky because she's made no attempt for the ball there.
Yeah, I think McLean's let herself down there by being too weak, if anything, because she just kind of allows Moritz to do it and then complains to the referee. If you throw yourself in there and get knocked to the ground, you're going to win a free kick. She's backed out of that and allowed Moritz to be assertive.
But it was brilliant from McLean. The timing of the run into that pocket was excellent.
I think the burst always needs to be quicker so that when she was nudged into Moritz, she was actually taken out.
Evans. Well, she didn't need to run into her.
No,
that's what I mean. She needs to run into her. If she runs into her, then Moritz commits the foul.
Yeah.
But because she sort of slows down and is waiting for the contact rather than going into the contact, it looks fairer from Moritz.
Yeah.
Wouldn't. Waiting for an option to throw to, goes down the line. That's headed away by Noel Moritz. Salmon misjudges that, as does Evans, but it's Evans who regains possession. Clark, Parry, plays it forward into Kapox. Lovely pass into Nagano, who can now shift it into McLean. Goes wider into Woodham. This is much quicker football from Liverpool. And apparently that's offside again on Lily Woodham.
How?
That's what I'm confused about. How high was she Or is that just an absolutely abysmal call?
Because, either she has covered, again, it's annoying we don't get a replay, but because she's either covered a lot of ground, or, I'm not too sure about that one at all.
Yeah, it's difficult again. Without a replay, we can't say whether the Linos are having an absolute howler of a game or whether Lily Woodham is.
Yeah.
Like, she keeps getting caught offside, but I don't know if it's because she's too high or because the Lino is making consistently abysmal calls. Love to see a replay. Now to the left-hand side, Maltby slips it in behind. Salmon will get there. Clark does well, stands her up, and now plays out to the right-hand side. Kiernan, space to drive into, looking to hit it in behind. But that's rushed, and Olsen can't get that.
Yeah. You want to get it in behind to Olsen, and that was always be difficult for Kiernan to do that. So then it ends up becoming a pass into her feet, which is just not what Beta Olsen wants.
Yeah.
Well, that's sloppy from Maltby. Nagano, though, decides to reserve possession rather than try and play forwards.
Kiernan holds that up well. And it's seen out by Nagano as that taking a deflection off Miri Taylor. And now it's Parry with the throw-in on the far side. Shamil says, what is Missy Bocan's position? It seems like she can play anywhere in central midfield. And speaking of Bocans, looks like she's coming on to the field. Yeah, obviously was an attacking midfielder, or came through as an attacking midfielder, has slowly been moved further back throughout her career. Used more in the double pivot so far this season by Natalia Arroyo, but she's really made that position alongside Kendall her own. And I mean, when Jill Beijings comes back, that's a lovely rotation option to have in there.
Yeah.
Taylor, Kendall, Bissy Bocans and Jill Beijings. How the hell do you fit them all in? But it gives them a really nice rotation option for Villa. And it means that with Beijings out at the moment, it doesn't look weak in midfield. Bissy Bocans actually also just come back from injury. Kiernan wins it hard the pitch. Don't think that's hit her arm. But there was a protest from the Villa players, and they got what they wanted. Let's have a look at the replay.
No.
Hits her body and bounces up. There's not a lot Kiernan can do about that. So, Missy Bocan's coming on to the field then. That'll be to replace number 15. And that is Parker. Centre half. I'm going to assume that is going to be Taylor dropping into the back three and not Missy Bocan's.
Yeah. Yeah, you'd assume so. But I think it's been a weird performance from the officials tonight. I really do. I mean, I know this referee got booed off the last time he was at Villa Park, and where maybe he doesn't want that to happen again, so he's just going to be a bit nicer to Villa. I don't know, but yeah, it has been a bit. I think Liverpool will feel a bit frustrated by some of the calls.
Ball pumped forwards there, headed on by Daly. Evans wins the challenge. And now sent forwards by Clark. Olsen tries to get the flick on Patton though, looming large behind her. Prevents it, and now Villa coming forward. Jakarta can't quite get to that loose ball. Here's Clark.
Holland ready to come on for Liverpool, by the way.
That could be a big one. Liverpool done well to steady the ship. They haven't looked like conceding in the second half. In fact, I don't think Villa have really had an opportunity. Enderby, apart from the one for Jakarta. McLean does well there. Played herself into trouble, but had the ability to get herself out of it.
She's done. Not really. It was been easier for her to take the ball forwards. Instead, she did some weird turn backwards and he lost it.
Lovely from Kiernan into Nagano. Who just didn't really have a forward option on there. Olsen. Back now to Parry. Into Kiernan now. Call that from Taylor for offside. It's absolutely egregious. Nagano. Out wide into Parry. Kiernan. I don't know what the referee's not having his arm for. Box. He played advantage there for no reason.
I don't really know where the foul was there. He just fancied it.
Clark. Evans. Now back to Clark. Nagano's dropped to the right-hand side of this back three. Now into Kiernan, who's going to look to put the ball into the box. Not a bad delivery. Needed a run at the front post there. Olsen got to anticipate that, but yeah, Kiernan putting it in there too close to the keeper. But if Olsen made that run, could have been dangerous.
Yeah, more encouraging signs for Liverpool. Just nothing coming from it at the moment. It will be a double change, by the way, for Liverpool as well.
It's like Sophie Lundgaard. But can't see from this distance. Furious there, Parry.
They've got no idea.
With that decision.
Neither, you could tell that took so long, neither of them had any idea who that came off.
She could get booked for that, but I think she's well within her right to be annoyed by that. Because, the officials guessed.
Yeah.
Absolutely guessed.
I mean, they haven't really...
She has been booked for that.
Yeah. I mean, I can understand why the...
It makes way for Lundgaard. That is an interesting one, but a refresh at the pack in midfield.
I don't think that gives you anything. I'm not sure about that one.
It rests McLean, who's played a lot of football, to be fair, for a 19-year-old. Parry makes way for Holland.
Holland going in at right back.
I mean, to be fair, Parry is just back from injury, so that does make sense.
But I think that goes to what I was talking about earlier, where that is prioritising Sunday.
Yeah. Or just prioritising not making sure they've got the right back for Sunday.
They've got some footballers who can play on Sunday.
Wouldn't. Now in towards Enderby.
Doesn't back herself, does she?
Grant, no. I think confidence is such an issue with Mia Enderby. You know, people talk about why hasn't she scored a WSL goal yet. That's the reason. She's an attacker who just doesn't believe in herself.
That's horrible. If you get stuck in a rut, it is really difficult, especially when you keep playing, because although people will view it as you keep getting opportunities to fix it, it just makes it worse. Like, I think that's why I like what Arroyo has done with Salmon. They had a bad run, so just drop her to the bench, but sensed an opportunity tonight to get her in the goals.
And they're bringing her on in lower pressure situations. They're 2-0 up at home, bring on Salmon against a defence that is error prone and try and get her that goal. Ball slipped in behind now, looking for Parks, goes back to a goalkeeper. Does Taylor. Ball sent forwards. Patton steps onto it well. Daly flick round the corner into Missy Boca and slips it now in behind for Chastity Grant. Now inside to Salmon. Daly. Good challenge there from Lundgaard. Let's go all the way back to D'Angelo there.
Aston Villa really have not laid a finger on Liverpool in this second half. But Liverpool just can't create. They're having all the ball and just can't do anything with it.
15 minutes into the second half, was in one shot. That was Hidja Carter's against the post. Other than that,
wow,
it's been Liverpool trying to progress the ball, not being able to break Villa down at all. But it's one of those Villa where, I don't think this has been their best attacking display, but where's the necessity for them to push forwards?
Yeah.
They've been gifted 2 goals by Liverpool.
But it's Villa 101. In the games where they're brilliant, they lose. In the games where they're not up to standard, they win. It's just the motto of Aston Villa at the moment. You look at the London City game, they played quite well in that and were beaten. In this game, they've kind of, to be honest, they've just done a lot of watching. They can just sit here and watch Liverpool, and as long as they remain structured, they're not. Aston Villa aren't going to concede.
Anyway, it's Faye Kirby with the ball, and I thought the game was frozen for a moment, but we do now play. Enderby. Lundgaard picked off there by Missy Bokans, trying to poke it through. No intended target. Evans into Lundgaard. Now shifts it to the right-hand side with Holland, who look to carry this ball forwards. It's Kiernan down the line.
Oh, had to send Holland.
Yeah,
had to send Pox.
Holland. Ball in behind, looking for better Olsen. That'll be seen back to D'Angelo with no issue. Good defending there from Noel Moritz. Patter Moritz. Now Grant, round the corner well. And one back in there by Nagano. Enderby. Now Evans. And here's Lundgaard. Shona says it's on Enderby. It's kind of sad people mention her off the field relationship more than what she does on the pitch. Yeah, the problem is when you don't do a lot on the pitch, and you're dating one of the most promising stars in the WSL, that is kind of an issue. It's a bit like Christy Mewis. I feel like people forget that she is a footballer sometimes.
Yeah.
Trying to get in behind here, Woodham, but smart stuff from Rich just to see it out.
Time running out for Liverpool to spark something in this game.
Yeah, having a shot would be nice. They've had one all game.
That is so poor.
But it's getting, where does that chance creation come from?
Yeah.
Without a Herbinger, without, Holland at right wing, at least does create something, without being able to play Capox at left wing, where does that chance creation come from? And, Woodham's deliveries haven't been good enough tonight. King just clearly isn't a creator.
Yeah.
And I mean, here came flying in.
Yes, well, that I think Olsen is brilliant, but she needs service. Really good finisher, but she's not gonna create for it. She can't create for herself.
Oh yeah, what can she do tonight?
Yeah.
I mean, Olsen has had 20 touches.
It's more than Rachel Williams last night.
It's true.
Oh, Woodham's fallen over. Luckily, Salmon also falls over. Maybe a bit of slippy turf there on Villa Park.
Nagano carrying it forwards now to Woodham.
But I think at this point, someone like a Capox has just got to have a go from range because Liverpool got a shot.
They've got to get Capox on the ball first.
That is true.
It's easy enough for Villa with their 5-back just to sort of sit in, drop the 2 midfielders in, and just kill the game.
Liverpool feel a bit stuck. Again, we saw similar things sometimes at City with Taylor. Is that if it doesn't work, they just get a bit stuck in terms of they can't really do anything else. That's the game done.
Yeah, Woodham does well there, but it's going to drop to Moritz. I think as well, Olsen's up against 3 centre-backs.
Yeah.
You need to put someone up there to help her.
Yeah.
Patton plays it forward. Salmon can't quite bring that under her control. This has not been a game that's going to go down as a well-revered classic, but would be a very useful 3 points for Aston Villa. Ball into the area, dealt with well there at the front post by Miri Taylor.
Yeah, Kieran's
slotted into that back three well.
Yeah, really well done. Kieran's had a couple where she's looked a bit sharper, just in terms of getting towards the byline and getting crossing. This is a corner now. Liverpool have got to use this.
Emily, welcome to the stream. Says, do you know what? At this point, I'm Gareth Taylor out. We like Sony to spend in January. I understand there'll be frustration from Liverpool fans. I think patience is what's required. Personally, I feel for Gareth Taylor. He's gone into that situation where he'd have been made promises, I imagine, that there will be investment and that they'll bring in players. And to be fair, they signed Beta Olsen, who, is a really good signing. They signed Sam Kerr on a permanent. They brought in Alejandra Bernabe. They brought in Ritsa Shimizu. They brought in a new goalkeeper, Rafaela Borgraf. They've been unlucky with how many of those haven't paid off, but they need to do. There's so much more for Liverpool to do. Ryan says, I do wonder where that Olivia Smith money went. Well, the difficulty with the Smith deal is that obviously a portion of it was paid in order to get Gareth Taylor out of the Man City contract. Because obviously Gareth Taylor was sacked by City, but City would keep paying his contract until he gets a new job, basically.
Yeah.
It is how that works. Here comes Grant, tries to feed it through. And so they still had to break him out of a contract at City and then obviously negotiate a contract. So they seemingly spent a fair whack on that, apparently. I don't think it was £1 million.
I don't think Gareth Taylor's worth that much.
I don't think his City contract was another year,
yeah.
So it would have been decently pricey. But Gareth Taylor was not on £1 million a year. Let's all calm down. So I don't think it was all the money. The other issue is that I don't believe all the Smith money was up front, which seems to be a bit of a misconception. But I think some of it is instalments or performance-related instalments. I might be wrong on that one, but I believe that is the case.
Yeah.
Again, we don't get much of the details about those sort of about transfers in the women's game at all. We don't even know what the most expensive transfer is in the women's game because London City won't tell us. So yeah, it's difficult to know at times. But people go, "Where's the £1 million gone?" Well, it's actually more realistic that they only received about half of that up front, and then they've had to buy Taylor out of their contract. And Beta Olsen, I believe, was about £100,000.
Yeah, it was quite a bit.
So, I think Liverpool should have invested more, but that's sort of an aside to the Olivia Smith situation. Lydia Woodham's been booked.
I don't think she was booked.
But I don't know why. And
Missy Bo-Kearns was booked. Okay. I don't think Woodham was booked for getting fouled.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past this referee, but
yeah, no. Yeah. Missy Bo-Kearns was the one who showed a yellow card.
Thrown on the far side with Holland. Gives it to Kiernan, back to Holland. And that's cut out by Kendall. Thrown back down the line into Kapox, who holds it up well. Out wide now to Kiernan, who keeps it in touch just about. And back now to Holland. Lundgaard, Holland.
Kapox hasn't been given half a yard today by Villa. Every time she touches the ball, she's got a player on her back immediately.
Pass inside to Nagano. And now to the right-hand side. Holland. Ball in, that's blocked. Kiernan's delivery and a corner now for Liverpool. And I hope there'll be more investment. I also blame FSG for lack of investment. Yeah, FSG have spent nothing ever. Even people talk about how much Liverpool spent in the summer. A lot of that is money generated because Klopp was able to work on a shoestring budget and, with some really smart recruitment, built up the team. They then invested when they were at a point that they could win the Champions League. And that worked. And now they have loads of money. The problem is they're now asking Gareth Taylor to do the same. Here is Kapox.
I think that might count as a shot, by the way.
Find out at the moment. Blocked well there.
Kapox headed it goalwards from the corner. It was blocked. And whether it was going on the target, I don't. Whether it was going. It was going towards the goal.
It's a shot.
There we go.
Blocked shot.
70th minute, first shot of the second half for Liverpool. And only their second shot of the game.
Hector opens the streams. His greetings from Mexico. Welcome from Mexico. Tuning in. Are you supporting either side, Hector? Let us know. Corner now for Liverpool. Ball in towards the near post. Bounces across goal and Liverpool unable to capitalise there.
I have to say, Villa look really weak from corners. We've already seen them concede quite a few this season. And again, Holland puts us in a dangerous area. And it was Daly who was actually the one who flicked it on at the near post. Liverpool then with another chance to put this ball in and put more pressure onto that Aston Villa backline. Woodham... it's not bad.
And that's claimed really well there by D'Angelo.
That's the one place you don't put it. That's the one place that Villa can deal with it, is straight into the arms of D'Angelo.
Yeah.
Just not
absolutely
utilised corners enough. That's a good ball into the path of Salmon. What a tackle that is from Clark. Does really well to time it and beat Salmon to the ball. Fed it through nicely by Grant. And Salmon, who is desperate for a goal, denied by Clark.
Yeah, so Aston Villa with this corner, but no one in any rush to take it. Which is understandable given Villa's situation in this game. They all seem to be looking over at the substitutes bench, and so that does indicate a change here for Aston Villa, and that's with Rachel Maltby making way for Paula Thomas to come on.
Yeah, Maltby really making that left wing back position hers this season for Villa. Has rotated around with Thomas.
And obviously, Thomas, I believe, came into the campaign with an injury.
Yeah.
Wilson Nolmolitz played in that position, but it's not really her strongest position, wing back. Ball in now. A shot from Salmon is blocked. There's a potential penalty call. Referee waggles his finger at it in denial. Here is Thomas. And that is not how to play it by the recovering Beta Olsen. And so now Thomas with the throw. Salmon. Thomas. Hijikata. Wriggles through the Liverpool backline. Back there to Salmon. And that's a speculative ball in the box. It almost caused a bit of an issue there as Grant made the run towards the back post.
Yeah. One of those where when the striker's in a wide position, they kind of need to realise that they are the striker, so who are they crossing it to?
Oh, yeah, I think to be fair, Grant almost got there. But
yeah.
How much does the Liverpool goal change this game?
Depends if it comes in the next 7 minutes, then I think it's going to put a bit of pressure onto Aston Villa. And as you say, their record of throwing games away in remarkably silly fashion.
I was saying, they didn't concede till the 85th minute in the game against Tottenham. And then they ended up losing 2-1. Kirby.
This is exactly. This has been too straightforward for an Aston Villa game.
Kirby sends it forwards. One back in there well by Taylor, carrying it forwards. And then it's given as a free kick.
She ran 10 yards.
Yeah. Better than that, I think, to be fair. She was fouled well before the halfway line, and she made it.
And then she runs. And
then into the.
It's not Villa's fault. She had to stop running.
Taylor Daly pokes it round the corner. Thomas can't quite keep it under her control, and Holland wants to get things going here. Thrown forwards. It's Patton who wins that header. Hijikata into Kendall. Salmon, Daly. Lovely exchange there from Villa. Kendall, though, with nowhere to go. Missy Bo Kearns now. Now Patton's going to step up into midfield nicely there for Villa. Slips it in behind. Salmon running through. Clark gets back in there and is caught. And that, a little disappointing again from Ebony Salmon.
Yeah. Should have the pace advantage. The first touch was okay, but tried to go across. She tried to do what attackers always want to do, which is take the touch across the defender, and then either the defender takes you out or they have to let you go and you run through. The problem was there, though, she took the touch across Clark, but Clark won the foot race. So rather than Salmon running across Clark and getting taken out, it was Clark running across Salmon and getting taken out. Yeah, plenty of thinking, I think, for Gareth Taylor and his coaches to do. I think that they would have been pleased with the positive steps they've taken in the last few weeks, but tonight will probably feel like a bit of a step backwards.
They can get a goal. I think it just instills some belief. Yeah. Sunday's the important one. Beat West Ham, and suddenly the first half of the season hasn't mattered. Because they'll be second bottom, only a point off Leicester most likely, unless they can get a result against London City.
That's the luxury position they're in now. Not luxury, but the decency of the position they're in now is that no one's expecting great things.
And this is why they need to be patient. This is, if you're going to have a season where you're not on it, this is the season to do it.
Yeah.
Salmon now from range, takes aim, well saved, drops for Daly, and it's 3. Villa capitalising once again on Liverpool's sloppiness at the back, and Rachel Daly bagging a brace. Salmon's strike was struck sweetly. Palmed down by Kirby, and straight to Daly, who poached it excellently. Aston Villa 3, Liverpool now.
Yeah, a typical Rachel Daly goal, that. Fox in the box and pounces on the loose ball. And Daly, who has been dropped deeper into more of a creative, mercenary role, has come up big tonight with a brace.
Absolutely. Don't mind this from Salmon. Kirby, once again. It's just poor goalkeeping. There's not a lot else I can say. You can't push that straight to the oncoming forward. Evans should do better to block it. Clark does everything she can, to be fair, to try and stop Daly getting to it, but effort is in vain as Daly finds her second of the game.
Yeah, it's one of those for Kirby that even if you're not going to claim it, you've got to get some distance on that parry. You can't
push it away from goal, not to the feet of Rachel Daly.
No.
And it's never a good look when a goalkeeper has 2 errors leading to goals and a 3.5 rating on football.
Ouch.
But yeah, every question that's been asked of her tonight, she's had the wrong answer.
And again, that'll be another blow. I mean, it's another shame because I think in the last couple of weeks, she's actually shored up a lot. I thought against Chelsea, she was excellent. I thought against Brighton, it was okay. They got away with a couple of weird moments, but still, it was just more solid. And I think it's not necessarily shot stopping or anything that's the issue. It is just those errors.
Yeah.
Like you can't at this level, you cannot afford to know you're going to concede every game because your goalkeeper or a defender is going to make an error. Because if Gareth has been realistic, at the moment he's going into every game thinking that.
Well, 4 errors leading to goals this season, and we are 10 games in now for these two sides. Mate, that's almost an error every other game. Ball out to the right-hand side. Grant. Sit back, and that bounces away there from Nomaritz. Wouldn't.
I'd be intrigued to see if you took all those errors out, which games they came in and whether it would have mattered for the results.
Started in 1-0. There was one against Tottenham, which that was a 2-1 win for Tottenham. So that's a point.
Yeah.
Ball in from Kiernan now. And that's claimed well by Sabrina D'Angelo. I don't know which other game where the other one was.
Again, another cross there from Kiernan that isn't met by anyone. That seems to be the step they're taking in this in his second half, is that Kiernan is getting crosses in, but they're just going straight to D'Angelo.
She wasn't given an error leading to goal in the game against Everton, but I'd argue she could have done better with all 4 of those. Shot from range now from Daly, really testing whether they can score from anywhere. That not on target though. Daly searching for her hat-trick. Double change coming then for Aston Villa. And that looks like Stanworth and Sarah Mailing, I think. Sarah Mailing.
Yes. You know it's not been a good night for you when Arroyo there is having a bit of fun. Yeah, laughing and joking with both coaching staff and our players. Meanwhile, Liverpool are all sat there trying to piece together what's going wrong.
They're bringing on Lucy Staniforth, who hasn't played a minute of football yet this season. You know, they are taking this game because it's won.
Yeah.
And Sarah Mailing, who has played a total of 168 or so minutes this season. So,
but also,
it's a good chance to get 10 minutes into those players.
But also, Villa, I believe, travelled to Man City at the weekend.
Yeah.
So they'll want to rest up and try and.
Yeah, it's a trip away. Yeah.
They know that'll be a very difficult game. They need to be firing on all cylinders. If they play like they have tonight, they won't win that game, I'll be honest. Although, to be fair to them, anything short of perfect wouldn't be good enough to beat Man City at the moment.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, you've got to sort of rely on City having an off day. Capitalise on that.
And on the
But it's the kind of game against a side who want to have a lot of the ball that is Villa's bread and butter, really.
Yeah.
You know, you look at their results against top sides this season. Chelsea, they held for 45 minutes. Chelsea found a way in the second half. They drew with Arsenal. They beat Manchester United. It's the kind of game that they'll really look to get something in. So, yeah. And they're now 8th in the league, a point behind Brighton, 2 behind London City, and only 6 behind Arsenal and Tottenham.
Better that from Olsen. The long ball's gone over, and that's the first time I think she's got there ahead of Patton, and has done well to win a corner.
Yeah, indeed. So can Liverpool find what would now be a consolation?
I think they'd like a goal. They've scored in their last 3 games. That'd be be nice to keep that run going at the very least.
Woodham over this. Still got a bit of height in the box. Have Liverpool, Olsen, Clark, both players capable of finding headed efforts. That's headed away well by Aston Villa, kept alive here by Liverpool. Evans, ball into the box, and that just dips on top of the goal. Too much on that from Evans. Almost looked like it might just drop on top of D'Angelo awkwardly, but
I feel like Liverpool have had quite a good run of corners in this game. But they've only had a shot from one of them.
Yeah, they've not really done anything from those set pieces. Just trying to find the stat. Yes, their 7th corner.
Wow.
Another area of their game that's not really working. No. Salmon. One back by Evans. That's only poked into Staniforth, who knock it down the line for Salmon again. And Holland does well to get back in there. Back to Staniforth, who squeezes it to Missy Bo Kearns. And now Hijikata. Back to Patton. Taylor. Missy Bo Kearns back to Patton. And now out to Noel Maritz. Mailing. Maritz. Under pressure. Plays it to Patton. Cut out well by Woodham. Probably going to get that under her control though, rather than launching it to D'Angelo, who's going to dribble it back to her penalty area.
Yeah, Villa just seeing the job through now.
D'Angelo out to the right-hand side. Here is Patton. Moritz. Grant makes the run there off the shoulder. Moritz decides better of it. Now out to the left-hand side. Thomas. Back to Staniforth. I'm not sure. Missy Burkens knew that was going to get flicked to her. And she gives away possession. Lundgaard goes all the way back to Kirby. 6 minutes to play here.
The concern will be now for Liverpool is what this result does. Of course, this is a game in hand, so it's a missed opportunity, but they'll still have a chance of catching West Ham. But what it does is it puts pressure on Sunday. If they'd won tonight, then even if Sunday did go wrong and they did lose to West Ham, they'd still have a bit of something to work with. Whereas now, that game feels a bit do or die. If they lose that, they're 5 points behind West Ham and still winless.
Yeah, 5 points behind West Ham, 4 points behind Leicester. Sunday is so important.
Yeah,
for both sides in that time.
At the very, very least for Liverpool, or even for both sides, same message. It's a not lose. At the very, very least.
Yeah, I think the other thing about tonight is it absolutely tanks their defensive record. They've now conceded the same amount as Everton, only 1 less than Leicester and London City, and only 3 less than West Ham. And all those defences have been abysmal this season.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's not great company to keep. Before this game, only 16 shipped. Now, 19 conceded. Kirby. Launching it out to the right-hand side. Kiernan heads it on, but only to an unopposed Paolo Thomas, who is under pressure here. Goes back to D'Angelo, who will launch it forwards. It's going to drop in there, and Evans cushions the header into Nagano. Brings it down well. Tries to go out to the right-hand side, but possession exchanges hands. One back quickly, though, by Kiernan. Clark. Kirby into Enderby. Brilliant turn in there, but gets pulled down. Liverpool free kick. Enderby takes it quickly out to the left-hand side. Woodham. Now Lundgaard. This has been a decent passage from Liverpool, to be fair. Clark. Can they cap it off with a consolation? No. As Kapox gives away possession. Staniforth. Rugged off the challenge there of Nagano. Missy Bo Kearns back to Staniforth. Wants to put it in behind. Here is Rachel Daly. Villa searching for a fourth. Cuts it back. Salmon takes a touch. Takes aim. Blocked. And Clark getting in front of it as well. Missy Bo Kearns going for an overhead kick there. And commits a foul instead. I think Liverpool would rather have the advantage.
Yeah. Missy Bo Kearns got to be careful. She has come on and been booked. But yeah. Villa still pushing to increase their advantage in this game, make it look a bit more comfortable, a bit more classy. But either way, 3 goals should definitely be enough now to take the 3 points home.
Well, it'll take an absolute mess around.
But it's a funny game sometimes.
It's not that funny.
That's too funny. Even for the shocks and surprises that football spits up, Liverpool scoring 3 goals before the end of this game, it would just be too far.
Yeah. Player of the match for this game then, the Barclays WSL one. Sky Sports goes to Rachel Daly. Do you think that is a fair assessment?
She's scored 2 goals. Yeah, she's looked pretty sharp. Yeah, I think she's played well. I think you'd also credit some of those Liverpool defenders for limiting Liverpool to
Liverpool defenders.
Sorry, Aston Villa defenders.
I don't get any credit tonight.
For limiting Liverpool to absolutely nothing. Yeah.
I suppose the right hand side, Woodham against Grant. Woodham does get there.
I think they have to get to Daly. So I don't think Villa have been standout tonight, but they've done enough to get the job done. They've been good enough to win the game. And that's what matters.
Yeah, just something different. I'd say Maya Hijikata. Thought she looked really good tonight. Just seemed to have been everywhere. Really good at linking up the play. Looks super tidy. I don't think she's given the ball away once. So, yeah, really impressive. Nagano presses. Missy Kearns, brilliant there.
Why would I just can't understand why Lundgaard would go backwards there. I really don't. You've pounced on the ball. Missy Kearns has been dismissed on Nagano. It's fallen to Lundgaard and she's turned and gone backwards. I don't understand that. And I think that sums up Liverpool a little bit at the moment. It's it's just very negative. It's very safe. Everyone's playing very safe.
Because inside that from Woodham into Lingard.
You still want to be the one to make that error, do you?
You want to be the one to make the next error.
Yeah.
Holland, Kiernan, back down the line towards Kerry Holland. Ball in towards the front post. Flashes across the face of goal with no contact. Grant, Daly, back to Moritz, who's going to look for that longer pass. Cut out by Evans. And she's played Missy Beaucairns through on goal. But Clark does enough there to seal wide. Missy Beaucairns looks up and right to deep the goalkeeper. And Kirby trying her best to make a mistake there. But it's too far away from it.
Yeah.
Missy Beaucairns looks up because Kirby just doesn't retreat here.
Yeah.
If she gets anything on this, she's just going to lift it over the Liverpool goalkeeper. Change now for Liverpool, and that is Bernabé brought into the fray. Lily Woodham makes way.
That's encouraging.
Yeah.
She's back on the pitch.
It gives them another option now to rotate at left back. And there'll be 4 additional minutes at the end of this game. Can Liverpool find a consolation? Can Villa add to their tally? Well, they've got 4 more minutes to try and find a 4th. Thomas. Daly, now Staniforth. Beaucairns. Delays well. Moritz. Changes with Mailing, now a shift inside. Lovely stuff from Mailing to find Missy Beaucairns. Tries to slip through Hijikata. One back in there by Liverpool. Moritz. Hijikata, no Moritz. Back now to Taylor. And she plays a really nice pass inside there into Lucy Staniforth. Thomas. Moritz now, who is trying out central midfield in this moment, and Thomas is brought down there, and that will be a foul against Kerry Holland, much to her disgust.
Yeah, not happy with that one, but it probably is a free kick. I think you can just tell Liverpool, once you get stuck in a rut, and this will be 11 games without a win, you do really start to feel that pressure, and it does become more and more difficult to get a very long line from the referee for that. Well, how many people are you expecting to get in it? You're going to fit about 7 people along that line. There's only one. Anyway, I think they're just starting
Ball on top of Kirby, and she never looked comfortable as that just hits the crossbar. Liverpool know what they're doing. Oh, sorry, Villa know what they're doing, I should say. Liverpool don't look like they know what they're doing at all. Ball down the line, looking for Olsen. Recovered by Thomas. Here's D'Angelo. Headed down by Evans. Drops in there now for Mailing. And, that's not brilliant from Bernabé. Mailing carries it forwards. Grant. Ball in. That's over everyone. Kept alive here by Thomas at the back post. Tries to squeeze it back in the box. Hooked clear by Enderby. Shot now from range, and that will bounce wide. Kirby won't quite get that. Stop it going off the field of play.
Yeah, Liverpool just want this game to end. But as I was saying, it's just you just feel every game, the longer the winless run goes on, the more and more difficult it will become to get that first win in the league. As I say, Sunday is absolutely massive, because if they don't get it on Sunday, it will just feel like it's never going to come.
Yeah, indeed. Jenna Clark launches it forwards. Kiernan brings it down. And now Daly tries to play through Missy Beaucairns, who slips in Salmon, but Kirby off her line well and does claim that one.
That's much better from Kirby. Proactive, got out quickly, got down to the ball.
Yeah. I think proactivity sometimes their downfall.
Yeah, maybe.
Because you look up and the ball's just been playing in mind, and Faye Kirby's running at you. But oftentimes she's then just completely makes a hash of it. It's just that the errors in the decision making afterwards. And I think she's a proactive goalkeeper, not with shot stopping, but she comes off her line quickly.
Yeah.
Shot stopping, she goes down in stages, which isn't ideal. And needs to be more proactive with those.
Yeah.
Predict the movement of the shot and make that move towards it before it goes. But I think she's often way too late to make that decision. And by the time she's made the decision, the ball's in the back of the net. Now, the Braxenius goal. There's only really one way she was going to hit that. I mean, Kelly should have got back on her line earlier anyway, but then just stands there, watches it goes past her. And that is full time here at Villa Park. Aston Villa 3, Liverpool 0. A comfortable night for Aston Villa, where they needed not to create anything of their own volition. Everything gifted on a silver platter from Liverpool areas, but they capitalised fully, and a really strong display here from Villa as they found it very easy actually to claim all 3 points tonight. Rachel Daly back amongst the goals, grabbing a brace and a goal as well for Kirsty Hansen, who takes her tally for the campaign to 5, going second in the top scorers charts. All round very comfortable for Aston Villa. As for this weekend, we're back with more live WSL action of Everton taking on Arsenal. Kicks off the weekend on Saturday morning, and a doubleheader on Sunday as Chelsea look to get back to winning ways as they visit Brighton, and Manchester United host Tottenham. So it should be good fun. Looking forward to it. That, though, is everything for tonight's stream. Thank you, particularly Shama Diddle, for your comments in the live chat. Thanks, everyone, though, that has tuned in. And hope you have enjoyed the stream. That, though, is everything. If you are new, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And if you haven't yet left a like on the stream, make sure to do that as well. That, though, is everything. We'll see you this weekend for more. And there'll be a new video out on the channel tomorrow. Thank you guys very much for watching. And we'll see you next time.